Beginning with a gentle golden wind and light rain, the master of ceremonies, with a single stroke, surprises the world. This video is purely for entertainment, and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting, and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 801. Cut it with the sword. Return to the original swordsmanship. Crack. The long sword in Upiu's hand broke. Just at the moment of the long sword breaking, Upiu's expression did not change. He kicked the ground with his foot and his figure also shot out. But this time he did not use a sword, but a punch. Liu Junction used the blood power of Zuanai Shai and Mang to burst out with powerful strength. Upiu also had a special physique, that is, strength natural divine power. His figure staggered the knife light and punched out. With the help of Wuxiang divine art and his own divine power, he burst out with a terrifying punch. What? Seeing Upiu's punch, Liu Junction's face changed. The saber in his hand turned around, and his fist collided with the reverberating saber. At the moment of collision, terrifying ki and heavy power poured into his long sword. Dang. 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 All three sabers were shaken, and fell off his palm. When the long sword fell off, Upiu continued to punch. Seeing this, Liu Junction could only punch, but when the two fists collided, Liu Junction felt his python-like power. Unexpectedly, he was no match for the opponent. The opponent's ki and power poured into him, causing his body to become half numb. His body was out of control, and was knocked back. Deep marks appeared on the ground where his feet stepped. Liu Junction burst out the power of Zuanai Shai and Mang. But he didn't gain the upper hand. Luo Han Qiu, who was watching the battle, opened her beautiful eyes wide. She was afraid that Upiu couldn't beat Liu Junction before, but she didn't expect that he would gain the upper hand now. Upiu succeeded in one blow without any pause. His figure rushed out violently, and his whole body burst out with ki. On the other side, Liu Junction burned his ki in blood, urging the power of his blood. Zuanai Shai and Mang not only had power but also coldness, and the icy aura rose from his whole body. His palms kept blasting out, and the coldness burst out. He wanted to freeze Upiu, but the Wuxiang Zen ki in Upiu's body kept flowing, and he couldn't freeze it at all. Bang! In this process, Upiu punched the opponent's body. Liu Junction's body was shaken and flew backwards, spurting out a mouthful of blood. Upiu shot out. Her palms turned into claws, grabbing Liu Junction's head. Roar. If you want to kill me, even if I die, I will help you. Liu Junction growled. In this growl, the voice of the giant python roared out. A terrifying and fierce power permeated. The blood in Liu Junction's body burned more vigorously, and the giant python on his body became clearer. But when the giant python realized, it seemed that something was burning in his body. He wants to make a last fight and burn his blood power. Luo Han Qiu said sternly when he saw this. Boom. At this moment, a shadow of the sky gate appeared in the sky. You have to die too. Liu Junction's eyes were violent, and he didn't pay attention to the sky gate in the sky at all. Burning his blood power. Facing Upiu, he couldn't win, and there were so many masters around, he definitely couldn't leave. He wanted to kill Upiu. A shadow appeared in Xianmen, and a terrifying pressure spread out, and the breath enveloped Liu Junction. Boom! Liu Junction's figure appeared in front of Upiu. The terrifying power around him enveloped Upiu, and his palm slapped Upiu. At this moment, the power of Xianmen seemed to be consistent with Liu Junction's attack. At this time, a person appeared on the roof in the distance. Looking at the power of Xianmen falling from the sky, he held the long sword in his hand. Cut. The person who appeared shouted in a low voice, and his figure suddenly rose up, and the long sword in his hand slashed out. There was no thick sword energy. Only a figure raised a long sword and slashed out, colliding with the falling power of Xianmen, and the long sword was intact. The power of Xianmen fell shattered. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. I didn't expect someone to resist the power of Xianmen with a pure sword body, and when everyone was surprised, Upiu's fist power burst out in the palm of his hand, and the terrifying fist power turned into a beam of light, like a silk thread, and collided fiercely with Liu Junction's palm. Boom. A strong force spread out in all directions. The two of them took several steps back. The giant python on Liu Junction's body disappeared while he was retreating. At the moment of disappearance, a layer of frost appeared on Liu Junction's body, and his body was instantly frozen. Boom. Liu's fist landed on the opponent's body. Bang. The whole body collapsed. Liu Junction's body collapsed, and the shadow of Xianmen in the sky gradually disappeared. At this moment, the world seemed to be still. And the person who drew the sword. At this moment, he disappeared in an instant, as if he had not appeared. The swordsmanship of that person just now, returning to the original. Who is that person? Sima Changhan, who was watching the battle, looked at the place where the figure disappeared, and couldn't help but let out a sigh of amazement. There was no sword energy, no energy fluctuations, but he just relied on swordsmanship to shatter the power of Xianmen falling. It can only be said that the opponent's understanding of swordsmanship has reached the pinnacle and returned to the original. Who is this person who can definitely cut Xianmen with one sword? Sima Changhan frowned. Not only Sima Changhan, but also other people watching the battle, their eyes became silent. Needless to say, the person who drew the sword must also be a member of the Qinglang Society. In silence, the rain that was originally rushing continued to fall. The world continued to become dim. Su Chen returned to the house and picked up the jade card that Luo Hanqiu had placed on the table. Get the snake card of the 12 zodiac cards and be rewarded with 2 orange lottery cards. Got 2 more orange lottery cards. Su Chen was in a good mood. Thank you for this time, Su Xiaolang Xiao. Now there are more people paying attention outside, so I will stay here for a while and leave tomorrow. Luo Hanqiu said. I need to tell you something. You can communicate with each other. Su Chen said. He wanted to communicate with Yuan Shizangsan and Ling Luoshi. Ling Luoshi had already said that he would take action against the 36 alien races. But how to deal with them still depends on Ling Luoshi's arrangement. Ling Luoshi has been out for a few days, and he has some understanding of the situation in Jiangnan. The three saluted Su Chen and left. Su Chen sat in the room. After a while, Yuan Shizangsan and Ling Luoshi walked into the room. Ling Luoshi, the 36 alien races are not simple. How did you arrange them? Su Chen asked. My lord, these 36 alien tribes are now scattered in the western and southern parts of Jiangnan. Their forces are dispersed. When they encounter major events, they will hold a clan meeting. Now that Liu Junction is dead, Li Zhenbei will definitely hold a clan meeting. Among these 36 alien tribes, except for the Li family, the other 35 tribes only have 15 C concentration powerhouses, and only 3 of the 15 are top C concentration powerhouses, ranking 2nd Feng Hanli, 3rd Liu Junction, and 4th Mu Feng He. Today they lost 4 C concentration powerhouses, and 1 Danshan transformation C. It can be said that these 5 major tribes have suffered a great loss of vitality. I will ask the 7 dragon heads for some people to attack these 5 tribes and destroy them. Cause them panic, and then go to see Feng Hanli, who is somewhat at odds with Li Zhenbei, and use my appearance to make them more suspicious, and see if they can cause internal strife. Ling Luoshi said. Ling Luoshi is not only the leader of the Dalian Alliance, but also a general in the court, and he is ruthless and cunning. Chapter 802, Love at First Sight. Love at First Sight, the power of a handsome man. In a restaurant in Luoyang City, many people were discussing the battle between the Qinglang Society and the 36 alien tribes last night. The Qinglang Society not only showed its strength this time, but also had 2 more brutal and violent All Masters. At this moment, on a table near the street in the restaurant, a man in a bamboo hat was drinking with his head down. He didn't care about the conversations of the people around him. The one drinking was Yu Piu. In the battle last night, he wore a mask and didn't show his true face. Since Su Chen hadn't located him yet, he came to the restaurant to drink some wine. After a hurried sound of horses, 3 figures walked in from outside. The one walking in front was a girl wearing a veil, a silver cloak, and holding a long sword in her hand. It was Mu Qingxuan who came out of the Zen Wu Taoist temple. Behind her followed 2 people. One was Mu Yuanping, and the other was Yang Yanlin, the son of the owner of the Zen Wu garden in the capital. Let's sit there. Mu Yuanping pointed to a corner and said. The whole location was not far from Yu Piu. When Mu Kingsuan sat down, his eyes couldn't help but see Yu Piayu, who was eating in a bamboo hat. Yu Piayu had a scar on his face. The elixir in this world could remove his scar, but he didn't. Sitting down, Mu Kingsuan happened to see the scar on the other person's face, so she couldn't help but take a second look. At this moment, Yu Piayu was holding a wine glass and drinking a sip of wine alone. While drinking, he couldn't help but look up slightly. His whole face was exposed. Mu Kingsuan, who was wearing a veil, saw Yu Piayu's face and couldn't help but say, how can there be such a good looking person? Most girls are appearance oriented. Mu Kingsuan was a girl, so when she saw Yu Piayu's face, her heart couldn't help but thump. She couldn't help but pay attention. Yu Piayu, who was drinking, felt his gaze and couldn't help but turn around. Looking at Mu Kingsuan wearing a veil, he couldn't help but nod slightly and smile. This smile made Mu Kingsuan, who was looking at him, feel heartbroken. A blush appeared on the veiled face. Mu Yuanping and Yang Yanlan, who followed Mu Kingsuan, saw the blush on Mu Kingsuan's face. Their faces changed slightly. They followed Mu Kingsuan for what? To win her favor. They had never seen such a blush on Mu Kingsuan's face before. Their eyes could not help but look in the direction of Yu Piayu. At this moment, Yu Piayu sensed something and frowned slightly. He took out some silver from his arms and put it on the table, then turned and left with his long sword. He was just drinking. He didn't want to be noticed too much. I'll go out for a while. Seeing that Yu Piayu was leaving, Mu Kingsuan's eyes moved slightly, and after speaking, he stood up. Mu Yuanping and Yang Yanlan's faces changed, and they wanted to get up, but they heard Mu Kingsuan's words. You don't have to follow me. You can wait for me here. After speaking, he followed Yu Piayu with his long sword. Yu Piayu, who had left the restaurant, frowned slightly when she saw this situation. A place in a remote alley. Yu Piayu stopped. Girl, following people is not a good habit. Yu Piayu said in a deep voice. The voice was low but crisp. Mu Kingsuan, who was following behind, blushed when she heard Yu Piayu's words. She didn't know why she followed him. She just wanted to follow him when she saw him and wanted to know who he was. The slight smile from him just now made her heart open. She practiced swordsmanship. Her sword heart was already clear, but she still couldn't help but follow him. She fell in love at first sight. I don't know how to call you, sir. I'm Mu Kingsuan from Zenwu Taoist Temple. She had already followed him. Then she had to know who the other person was, so she gave her own name first. Hearing Mu Kingsuan's words, Yu Piayu frowned slightly. He didn't expect that the other person would be Mu Kingsuan from Zenwu Taoist Temple, one of the holy places of Taoism. I'm Yu Piayu. Yu Piayu said. Mu Kingsuan heard the words, and her eyes moved, and her eyes looked at Yu Piayu's face again. There was a trace of scar in his handsome face, but the scar didn't seem to affect his handsomeness. He was still flawless. Dressed in white, with the breeze blowing, he looked like a banished celestial being from heaven. His heart couldn't help but beat even more. He calmed his mind and said, you are also here to see the sword tomb of Holy Sword Lake. We can go together. Mu Kingsuan saw the sword in Yu Piayu's hand and guessed that Yu Piayu was here to see the sword tomb. I don't have an invitation to Holy Sword Lake, so I can't enter Holy Sword Lake. I do, if possible, I would like to invite you to enter Holy Sword Lake together. Mu Kingsuan blurted out. Yu Piayu frowned slightly. He didn't expect Mu Kingsuan to invite him to enter Holy Sword Lake together. Aren't you afraid that I will harm you? Yu Piayu said. No, I don't think you will hurt me. After Mu Kingsuan finished speaking, her face became even redder. She didn't know why she said such a thing. Yu Piayu's expression moved slightly, and he wanted to refuse. Now he has the ability to refuse everything. Let's go. Mu Kingsuan said, as if he didn't give Yu Piayu the right to refuse. He came forward to Yu Piayu. If Su Chen were here, I wonder what he would think. The most beautiful man in the world is this kind of charm. I have invited you. Are you still refusing? It is not a good habit to refuse a beautiful woman. When Mu Kingsuan spoke, her eyes were like autumn waves. Please. Yu Piayu had nothing to do for the time being. Although Zenwu Taoist Temple did not conflict with Qinglong Society. It had some secret conflicts with Xian'ai Pavilion. People who contacted Zenwu Taoist Temple might know something. Of course, at this moment, UPIU only knew that Mu Qingxuan was from Zenwu Taoist Temple and did not know Mu Qingxuan's identity in Zenwu Taoist Temple. Qingxuan. This person's identity is unknown. At this time, Yang Yanlan spoke not far away. Although Mu Qingxuan asked them not to follow, they still followed. As soon as they arrived, they heard Mu Qingxuan inviting UPIU to go to Shengjian Lake together. Mu Yuanping on the side stared at UPIU fiercely. His identity was still a little worse than Yang Yanlan's. So he didn't speak, and let Yang Yanlan speak. This is my decision. It seems that you don't need to ask about it. Hearing Yang Yanlan's words, Mu Qingxuan's eyes turned cold. I finally invited UPIU to go forward together, but you came to sabotage it. Qingxuan, his identity is really unclear, and we don't know him. Yang Yanlan continued. Mu Qingxuan has a high status in the Zenwu Taoist Temple. There is the background of the Zenwu Temple, above Xianmen. If Mu Qingxuan can become his wife, then he can enter the Zenwu Temple. Mu Yuanping is a competitor with him, but he doesn't take Mu Yuanping seriously. But now this person appears, which puts a lot of pressure on him. Because Mu Qingxuan looked coldly at him for the other party, which was not the case before, a cold light flashed in his eyes. He walked towards UPIU. Qingxuan, you are not someone you can contact. Leave immediately. Yang Yanlan said. No one can interfere with anything I do. UPIU said coldly. You. Hearing UPIU's words, Yang Yanlan's eyes flashed coldly, but he didn't make a move. He was afraid that, if he made a move, Mu Qingxuan might get angry. I don't know how to address you. My name is Qingxu Temple, Mu Yuanping. At this time, Mu Yuanping spoke. UPIU. UPIU spoke. Brother you came to the sword tomb of the Holy Sword Lake alone to watch swords. It seems that you are a master of swordsmanship. Mu Yuanping spoke. I'm not a master of swordsmanship yet. UPIU said. Compared with Zeman Chugsu and others, UPIU didn't pursue swordsmanship so much, so he didn't dare to call himself a master of swordsmanship. Hearing UPIU's words, Mu Yuanping's eyes turned and wanted to say something. Brother you, don't worry about them, let's go first. Seeing the two asking questions one after another, Mu Qingxuan looked unhappy and stepped forward to drag UPIU away. Brother Yang, what are your plans? Mu Yuanping looked at Yang Yanlan. This person's aura is weak. Luoyang City is a bit chaotic now. It is normal for people to die. Only dead people are not a threat. Yang Yanlan looked at Mu Yuanping. Brother Yang and I have the same idea. This UPIU of unknown origin cannot be kept. A hint of murderous intent flashed in Mu Yuanping's eyes. Chapter 803, Z Family Sword, 7 Great Leaders, Xiansan Clan. In the inn, Su Chen was sitting cross-legged on the bed. He was comprehending the 4 symbols of heaven's will. He had already received the infusion of the 3 forms of the 4 symbols of heaven's will, and had mastered the 3 forms. And with the help of this power, plus some of his own elixirs, his Danshan transformation C was about to reach its limit. I need to consider the divine power, Su Chen thought to himself. Then he took a look at the orange lottery card in his mind. He got 2 orange lottery cards from the snake card of the 12 zodiac signs in Luo Hanqiu's hand, and 1 from Liu Sheng's sword, when he brought back the weapons of the Xiansan tribe. Now he has 3 orange lottery cards. Draw them away. Su Chen did not keep these 3 orange lottery cards. Obtained 1 ordinary weapon level longsword, obtained the Z family's divine sword, top weapon level weapon, and obtained the 7 disciples of Yuan Shizangsan. Looking at this, Su Chen's face lit up. An ordinary weapon level longsword, although ordinary, is also a weapon level weapon. The Z family's magic sword is a top level weapon. Zi Feng's swordsmanship was demonstrated last night. With the ordinary longsword in his hand, he blocked the power of the falling Xianmen. If there is the Z family's magic sword, the power of that sword will be even stronger. As for the 7 disciples of Yuan Shizangsan, 6 of them are called Liu Qinglong, which are specially used by Yuan Shizangsan to deal with Zhu Zhengwo. Each of them learned a unique skill from Yuan Shizangsan. The 7th person is Wen Zuan, who calls himself the 7th in the world. He is the favorite disciple of Yuan Shisangshan and has learned 3 unique skills, including Sword of Momentum, Hate Palm and Hate Fist. Calling himself the 7th in the world means that he believes that he is the strongest 7th person at that time. Su Chen looked at the strength of these 7 people. 6 of them are in the 9 difficulties of heaven and man, and when Zuan is in the Danshan transformation sea, the strength positioning is still relatively high. It is stronger than Zhu Zhengwo and others who appeared in the early stage. In this way, King Lang Club has 7 more helmsmen. At this time, Yuan Suan appeared outside the door. Come in. Su Chen got off the bed and said. Yuan Suan pushed the door open and entered. Master, I just got a message that UPI ran into Mu Kingsuan from the Zen Wu Taoist temple. Mu Kingsuan invited him to go to the Holy Sword Lake to see the Sword Tomb. Yuan Suan said. Mu Kingsuan invited UPI to go to the Holy Sword Lake to see the Sword Tomb. What's going on? Su Chen asked with some doubts. UPI was drinking in the tavern today and met Mu Kingsuan and others who came to Luoyang City. Yuan Suan briefly told Su Chen about what UPI encountered. Su Chen's eyes widened. Previously, Su Chen was thinking about letting UPI use her beauty to do something. It hasn't come into play yet. And then she ran into Mu Kingsuan from the Zen Wu Taoist temple. This is a bit unfair. Can being handsome really kill everything in an instant? Su Chen couldn't help but think in his heart. No wonder there were so many beauties around handsome guys in his previous life. Let's just leave UPI alone for now. The Zen Wu Taoist temple is not simple. Maybe we can learn about it through Mu Kingsuan. Su Chen said. Are there any other movements? Su Chen asked. No movement for the time being. I guess they are waiting for the opening of the Holy Sword Lake before taking action. Yuan Suan said. The battle of the King Lang Club yesterday. It can be said that the originally turbulent Luoyang City suddenly became quiet. It's good to be quiet like this. Where is Mirren Chen now? Su Chen knew from Sima Changhan that Mirren Chen came to Luoyang City. According to the itinerary, he should arrive in 2 days. My Lord Princess Mirren came here, probably to rely on our strength. Let's talk about it after Mirren Chen arrives. You should pay attention to the situation of the Lai family and the 36 alien tribes. Su Chen said. Ling Luoshi and Yuan Shisangshan have already left Luoyang City. According to Ling Luoshi's plan, there will be action in the next 2 days. So he needs to know the situation of the 36 alien tribes. Time flies, and 2 days have passed in a flash. 36 alien tribes Fuming City, where the Shiansan clan is located. In a restaurant, Ling Luoshi and Yuan Shisangshan, wearing bamboo hats, sat quietly in a restaurant. Outside the restaurant, a large number of Shiansan clan members, holding weapons, were investigating something, making a lot of noise. Brother Yuan, the Shiansan clan is on guard against us. Ling Luoshi said as he looked at the Shiansan clan members holding weapons on the street outside, drinking. Brother Ling, how are you going to deal with the Shiansan clan? Yuan Shisangshan looked at Ling Luoshi and said, I have already mobilized the assassin leaders of the 2 places around the King Lang Society and asked them to gather with the assassins in Fuming City. When I just entered the city, I also notified the leaders of the 2 places to meet us outside the city. Ling Luoshi said, aren't you afraid that there may be traitors among these recruited killers? Yuan Shisangshan said, yes, it's just right to get rid of them all at once. Ling Luoshi said casually, from what we can see now, the Shiansan tribe must have received some news, otherwise they wouldn't have investigated so extensively. You mean the Shiansan tribe? What's going on? Why did they suddenly start a large-scale search? What are they searching for? I actually know something about this. 2 days ago, Liu Junction from the 36 alien tribes led people to attack and kill Su Chen, the young leader of the King Lang Society. But I didn't expect that they had already made arrangements. None of the people who went came back, including Kaiang Qiu from the Shiansan tribe. At that time, Ling Luoshi, the leader of the Zengaihu Hall of the King Lang Society, made a harsh statement, saying that he would destroy the 36 alien tribes. It seems that the King Lang Society is going to take action against the Shiansan tribe. Keep your voice down. The Shiansan tribe is not simple. The 36 alien tribes are very strong. Be careful, they want to take your life. Someone at a table not far away heard the other party's words and said immediately, What are you afraid of? Seeing their large-scale search, I guess it might be the assassins from the Qinglang Society. It seems that the fate of the Xianxin clan is coming. A thin man in green clothes holding a folding fan said in a low voice. Although he lowered his voice, the inn was not very big, and all the people were from the martial arts world. With sensitive ears, he heard everything clearly. The Xianxin clan ranks 6th among the 36 alien tribes. They are very powerful. Although Qiang Qiu is dead, there are still many masters in the Xianxin clan. What's more, the Xianxin clan has a large formation called the Xianxin Extinction Formation, which is presided over by 36 masters of the Xianxin clan. It is rumored that even the C-concentrated strongman may not be able to break it. It's not so easy for the Qinglang Society to deal with the Xianxin clan. Who knows, but if the Xianxin clan is destroyed, it will be a good thing for us. In that case, we will have a chance to come out on top. One person whispered. Shh. Just as he finished speaking, an iron umbrella flew out from the pavilion. When it flew into the air, instantly, several blades flew out of the umbrella. Kai kai kai. Some people who had just been discussing were instantly stabbed by these steel knives. Blood flowed out of their bodies. This is the fate of those who dare to discuss my Xianxin tribe. A young man wearing a black robe with a purple umbrella embroidered on the cuffs walked down from downstairs. He raised his hand and grabbed the iron umbrella. Chapter 804, the 7th in the world, extremely cruel. When Zuyan, the 3rd son of the Xianxin tribe leader, Qiang Fang, is also the disciple of Qiang Qiu. Ling Luoshi looked at the young man in black and said, "He's quite strong. Should we kill him?" Yuan Shizhen said, "Not for now. Let's go outside the city and meet the leaders of the 2 places of Qinglang. I really want to know who leaked the news that we chose the Xianxin tribe to attack." Ling Luoshi's eyes were a bit cruel. After saying that, he put down a few taels of silver and left quietly. At this moment, the Xianxin tribe leader is a burly man sitting in the hall. In the hall, there are dozens of Xianxin tribe elders. The strength of these elders varies. Report. At this time, a Xianxin tribe disciple walked in from outside. "Chief, we searched the whole city and only found 5 assassins of Qinglang. There is no other harvest," the disciple reported. 5 assassins? Upon hearing the disciple's report, the face of the Xianxin tribe leader slightly condensed. He looked at the man standing next to him, an old man wearing a grey robe, thin body, and various spots on his face. Because of the spots on his face, the old man's face looked a little ferocious. This person was previously the person in charge of the Wushing stronghold in Fuming City, named Luoshan. After the leader of Wushing was killed, he joined Bayan and secretly killed the previous leader of Bayan to become the person in charge of Bayan's stronghold in Fuming City. However, Bayan was taken over by Qinglang not long after. The person in charge of the city stronghold has not changed. So now he is also one of the 2 leaders of Qinglang in Fuming City. "Mr. Luo, are there not many people coming?" the Xianxin tribe leader said. "It shouldn't be. I got the news that the surrounding Qinglang assassins are gathering here, at least 100 people, and it is estimated that some people have not entered the city at all." Luoshan said in a deep voice. "Is that so? What will Mr. Luo do next?" said the chief of the Xianxin tribe. "No matter what, Chief Qiang, you still have to be on guard. I'll go meet up with Ling Luoshi first. Once I get any news, notify me immediately," Luoshan said. "Then I'll trouble you, Mr. Luo. As long as this first crisis is over, the influence of the Qinglang Society will surely fall, and support from other tribes will also arrive. I promise to give Mr. Luo the things I promised to give him," said the chief of the Xianxin tribe. "Thank you, Chief Qiang." Luoshan hurriedly thanked him. "Then I'll take my leave first." After speaking, he saluted to the chief of the Xianxin tribe and left. After Luoshan left, "Chief, could it be that Luoshan just wants to blackmail our Xianxin tribe? The people from the Qinglang Society haven't come yet." One of the old men spoke up. After so many years of cooperation, he would not do such a thing, not to mention that, if the people from the Green Dragon Society do not move, he will not be able to get that thing. This time it is a crisis for my Science tribe. Only if we survive can we survive. If we can't survive, my Science tribe may. Has there been a reply from Lizenby? The Science tribe leader spoke up. Chief, Lizenby replied and asked me to deal with the first wave first. He has arranged for people to come. An elder spoke up. Chief, to deal with the first wave, our Science tribe may suffer heavy losses. Should we contact Feng Hanli? Another elder spoke up. Feng Hanli will not help us, and he wants to take the opportunity to weaken Lizenby's power. Our Science tribe must withstand this wave of attacks from the Green Dragon Society by ourselves. Pay close attention to the movements in the city and immediately sound the alarm if you find anything. The leader of the Science tribe stood up and ordered sternly. Night fell outside the city in a dense forest. 4 figures were gathering together. The 4 people stood aside without saying a word, and there was a good-looking woman among them. A figure fell down. It was Eluoshan who appeared in the Science tribe. Everyone is here. Eluoshan greeted. Eluoshan, why are you so late? The Science tribe checked strictly. So I was late. How come you didn't meet Brother Qin? Eluoshan said to the person who spoke. Eluoshan, what do you mean by this? No meaning. It's just that the news that my Qinglang Society, Hall Masterling, came to Fuming City to deal with the Science tribe was leaked. Otherwise the Science tribe would not have conducted such a large-scale search. Eluoshan said in a cold voice. Eluoshan, you are suspecting me. The man surnamed Qin spoke. When the man surnamed Qin spoke, there was a murderous intent in his eyes. He is also one of the leaders of the Fuming City, Qinglang Hu, stronghold, and is now in competition with Eluoshan. Now is not the time for internal strife. Wait until Masterling comes. I heard that Masterling is very domineering and fierce. Don't you take your own life seriously? Don't involve us. A man in a green robe spoke. The green robed man was holding a long sword in his hand. The long sword was black and there was no light under the moonlight. When he finished speaking, suddenly, a murderous atmosphere appeared in the surrounding forest. The expressions of the 5 people changed. They sensed a murderous intent. Their expressions immediately became tense. Their eyes looked around. Trample. Trample. At this time, the sound of dead branches being stepped on came from one place. A figure came towards this side from a distance. The person who came was tall, thin, and had very short hair. He looked very lean, with a fierce look in his eyes, with a terrifying and cruel look. Your strength is a little weak. The figure moved quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it appeared in front of the 5 people. My name is Wen Zuan, one of the helmsmen of the 365th branch of the Green Dragon Society. I will be responsible for Fuming City and Suchan from now on. The man who came spoke. This person was none other than Wen Zuan, who was ranked 7th in the world by Su Chen 2 days ago. If we were to talk about the most ruthless villain in who is the hero, it would definitely belong to Wen Zuan, who is ranked 7th in the world. He is arrogant, ruthless, and unscrupulous. He killed his fellow disciples and betrayed his master. Although he was Yuan Shisangson's favorite disciple, he betrayed too deeply. He is also extremely greedy and cruel by nature. He is an out-and-out villain. Greetings, helmsman. Seeing this, the 5 people saluted Wen Zuan at the same time. How is the personnel gathering going? Will we attack the Science tribe tonight? Wen Zuan said. Attack the Science tribe tonight. Don't we wait for Hall Masterling? There are many masters in the Science tribe, and we are afraid. Eluoshan couldn't help but ask. Hearing Eluoshan's words, Wen Zuan's face turned cold, and he stepped on the ground, and his figure instantly appeared in front of the other party. He raised his palms and formed claws, and his 5 fingers were filled with true energy, like an air blade. The terrifying air blade instantly enveloped Eluoshan. You. Seeing this, Eluoshan let out a low shout, slapped out with his palms, but suddenly a terrifying energy burst out from Wen Zuan. The energy he slapped out was instantly shattered. His body was also suppressed in an instant. Then he saw a big hand appear above his head. Swish. The head flew up, and blood flowed. The strength of the 6 difficulties of heaven and man is so weak, and you dare to question me. Don't deny my decision in the future, otherwise he will be your fate. Wen Zuan said in a cold voice. He was defeated in his previous life, but he cannot be defeated again in this life. Chapter 805, Killing the Cheyenne clan and carrying out a brutal massacre. Your disciple is quite cruel. I like him very much. How about becoming my subordinate? In the dark, Ling Luoshi looked at Yuan Shisangshan and said. Yuan Shisangshan looked heavy. Wen Zuan's betrayal was also a knot in his heart. Aren't you afraid that he will bite you back? Yuan Shisangshan looked at Ling Luoshi and said. I killed more people than him. Is he as cruel as me? Ling Luoshi said in a cold voice. Yuan Shisangshan was silent at this moment. Wen Zuan's betrayal was a knot that was difficult to untie. Looking at the 6 disciples behind him, Yuan Shisangshan was also startled. 5 of these disciples died in his hands. Thinking of this, Yuan Shisangshan felt violent in his heart. He wanted to kill people, to vent the knot in his heart. The past has vanished into thin air. In this life, I have things I need to do. There is still the heavenly gate above. My lord, you may be able to enter the heavenly gate. If we can't, you and I will be stranded in this world. This can't be the end of you and me. Ling Luoshi looked at the changes in Yuan Shisangshan and said, Brother Ling, don't worry. I saw the heavenly gate before. As long as I break through my mountain sutra and cooperate with my sad little arrow, I can break the heavenly gate with one arrow. Yuan Shisangshan exuded a sense of momentum. Brother Ling, tell me about your plan. Yuan Shisangshan looked at Ling Luoshi and said. This plan was completely arranged by Ling Luoshi. The Cheyenne clan, kill a group of people, and I will leave a group behind. Ling Luoshi said coldly. Leave a group behind? What do you want to do, Brother Ling? Yuan Shisangshan was a little confused. You still have 7 disciples, but I don't have anyone. These are some red Yuan insects that I secretly refined in the past 2 days. They can erode people's brains, turn them into dead soldiers, and be loyal to me. While Ling Luoshi was speaking, he took out a bottle and said, if I can strangle all the 36 alien tribes, I will have more dead soldiers. The imperial hegemony is what the master should do. The martial arts world is just one aspect. We should think more about the master. The warriors of the great Zhao dynasty are one aspect, and there is also the military, which should be the strongest. I want to help the master become the peerless overlord. Isn't it rumored that Emperor Zhao was poisoned and wanted to break through, so he was seriously injured? In this case, he should retreat. Ling Luoshi said. Ling Luoshi is not only the leader of the Dalian alliance, but also the general in charge of 100,000 troops. But I still need to discuss with Zhu Zhengguo about what to do next. Ling Luoshi said. I didn't expect you to have such an idea. After destroying the 36 alien tribes, I will go with you to see Zhu Zhengguo. Yuan Shisangshan said. At this moment, under the suppression of Wen Zuan's momentum, the other 4 people looked terrified. Their strength is about the same as Luoshan. Wen Zuan killed with just one move. King Langhu, a helmsman, is so strong, which makes him terrified and excited at the same time. The Green Dragon Society is strong. That is, they are strong. What you have to do today is to assassinate those ordinary guards and servants. Those who are capable do not need to be asked. Remember to kill them ruthlessly. Dare to attack the young dragon chief. They must pay an extremely painful price. Let the martial arts world know the cruelty of the Green Dragon Society. Remember that the dignity of the young dragon chief of the Green Dragon Society cannot be challenged by anyone. Wen Zuan's cold voice was spreading. Yes. Move. Wen Zuan said, and the 5 people headed towards the city. When they moved, a message was sent out, and the previously gathered Green Dragon Society assassins were notified. The night was beautiful, and when the Green Dragon Society assassins were dispatched, the whole fuming city was filled with a murderous atmosphere. Many martial artists in the martial arts world sensed this murderous atmosphere. Their eyes could not help but look in the direction of the Cheyenne clan. Several black shadows of the Cheyenne clan appeared, and the long swords in their hands cleanly and neatly eliminated dozens of guards. After killing people, these figures quickly sneaked into the entire manor. Avoiding the guards, they went to the back of the manor. Then they began to kill servants, children, no matter who they were. They killed anyone they saw. Blood and screams burst out. Enemy attack. Voices of fear rang out in the manor. The Cheyenne guards gathered quickly. But these killers. The wind is poisonous. Some guards growled and then began to scratch their faces, but when they scratched their faces, they screamed. Swish. Hidden weapons kept appearing in the dark. Groups of guards fell to the ground. Although the Shyamsen tribe was prepared, these were low-level killers, and they would not attack you head-on. For a time, the Shyamsen tribe suffered heavy losses, looking for death. At this time, a Shyamsen warrior from the Shinran realm made a move. Swish. But just as he spoke, a servant behind him made a move and pierced his chest with a long sword. A killer hidden among the guards. Despicable. The Shinran realm warrior said this and fell to the ground. Gathering at this time, some people from the Shyamsen tribe quickly gathered in the hall. The Shyamsen tribe leader stood in the hall with a gloomy face, and behind him stood a dozen elders. There were also 36 fully armed men in the hall, holding iron umbrellas in their hands. Father, this King Lang society is too despicable. A figure led several people into the hall. It was the one who appeared in the previous inn, Kyang Fang, who came to the hall with a bloody face and multiple scars on his body. He looked very embarrassed. You came at the right time. Take the 36 guards and kill all the assassins who invaded the Shyamsen tribe for me. The Shyamsen tribe leader said coldly. The assassins who took action were not very strong. So the 36 guards presided over the formation and would definitely be able to kill them. Yes, father, I will definitely kill all these people. After saying that, Kyang Fang rushed out of the courtyard with 36 people. When they walked to a place, suddenly, a figure appeared and countless chess pieces appeared in his hand and flew out. The chess pieces instantly rushed into the place where the 36 people were. Seeing this, some of the 36 people held up their iron umbrellas in an instant to block the falling object. Kill. Some people attacked the figure that appeared. The coordination was extremely fast. The figure that appeared quickly retreated without entanglement. The falling chess piece did not explode, but fell on the ground. But the moment it fell on the ground, a mist appeared. For a moment, it actually separated the 36 people. Then 6 figures rushed into the 36 people. They just attacked, but did not kill them with one blow, but just severely injured them and made them unconscious. These people are useful to Ling Luoshi and should be trained to be dead soldiers. At this moment, Wen Zuan stepped out of the hall. Who are you? Seeing Wen Zuan, the head of the Shyamsen tribe said with a condensed look. Because the person who came was not Ling Luoshi, the leader of Fuming City of King Lang Society. Wen Zuan is here today to destroy your Shyamsen tribe under the order of the master of Zengaihu Hall. Wen Zuan said sternly, looking for death. An elder behind the chief of the Shyamsen tribe flashed. His body was as fast as lightning, and his energy was whistling. He slapped Wen Zuan with his palm. Wen Zuan was just a helmsman. A helmsman dared to come to his Shyamsen tribe and be so presumptuous. The palm of the sky blood hand was bloody. If you underestimate me, you will only die. Wen Zuan's figure disappeared in front of him, and then a cold and terrifying voice appeared in his ears. It made him terrified, and his hair stood up, but he couldn't retract his palm. Bang! The whole body flew backwards. His chest was pierced directly by a fist, and he fell to the ground without a breath. You have the strength of Danshan turning into sea. Seeing this, the eyes of the Shyamsen tribe chief condensed. He didn't expect Wen Zuan to have the strength of Danshan turning into sea. Chapter 806. 108 heads hanging. His eyes also became gloomy. A helmsman actually has such strength. At this moment, the whole hall seemed a little silent. The elders in the hall couldn't help but look at the Shyamsen tribe leader. The Shyamsen tribe has 2 sea concentrated masters. One is the top sea concentrated master, and the other is the ordinary sea concentrated master. That is, the Shyamsen tribe leader. Only the leader can kill the other party. You are very powerful. But can you destroy my Shyamsen tribe just by yourself? The Shyamsen tribe leader stepped forward, and a terrifying force emerged from his body. A divine power appeared behind him. His divine power was a black umbrella shadow. The umbrella shadow appeared, and a heavy force enveloped Wen Zuan. Under this divine power, the key energy that burst out of Wen Zuan's body was instantly suppressed, and a heavy mountain-like pressure enveloped him. Wen Zuan's face became ferocious, and he wanted to move his breath. But he was just an ordinary Danshan Huahei, not his master Yuan Shizengsen. Creak, crack. The bones made sounds under the suppression of the divine power. Kill you. At this moment, the Cheyenne tribe leader raised his palm. A metallic luster appeared on his palm. His 5 fingers became extremely sharp, and a terrifying murderous aura emerged from his body. Boom. His body flashed, and his palm grabbed Wenzuan. But when he moved, suddenly, a terrifying divine power fell down. 4 stone door phantoms appeared. For a moment, the Cheyenne tribe leader's divine power burst out under these 4 phantoms, and it was instantly shattered, and his aura was also locked. Ling Luoshi. Seeing this stone door, the Cheyenne tribe leader's face changed drastically. Ling Luoshi had made a move once in Luoyang City. He knew this person's skills. Roar. At this time, when Zun roared, the repression just now was instantly roared. You die. When Zun roared, kicked the ground with his feet, and his figure shot out, carrying a terrifying aura and punching out. Seeing this, the Cheyenne tribe leader wanted to move, but he found that his speed was not as fast as Wenzuan's. When he moved, the other person had already appeared in front of him. His fist attacked with a fierce aura. Feeling this terrifying power, the Cheyenne tribe leader was shocked. Roar. With a low roar, he burst out with all his strength and moved his body at a very fast speed. Boom. When Zuan's fist hit the ground, and the whole ground instantly appeared densely packed with cracks. Countless broken stones shot out. When Zuan, who failed to hit the ground, turned his fist into a claw and grabbed the ground with one claw. The cracked stone on the ground was instantly lifted up and then went towards the Cheyenne tribe leader. At this moment, when Zuan's face turned red, blood and energy surged all over his body. When the stone went towards the Cheyenne tribe leader, he appeared in front of a Cheyenne tribe elder. He inserted his hands into the other person's chest and then tore it open. Ah! A scream came from the elder's mouth. Bang! At this time, the palm of the Cheyenne tribe leader's palm had already smashed the stone. Seeing this, he roared with a ferocious look. I will kill you. He went towards Wenzuan. Boom. But at this time, the power of the divine power that enveloped him suddenly increased. His power was restricted. Kill me, you can only die. No one can save you today. Let's have a fair fight. How can there be fairness in the world? When you attacked the young dragon leader of the Qinglang society, it meant this ending. I, Wenzuan, will hang your heads at the door of the Cheyenne clan. Wenzuan was filled with bloody murderous aura. Kill. Burst with all your strength. The Cheyenne clan leader roared, and his divine power surged. He wanted to give the elders a chance to escape from the suppression of the divine power. Boom. The divine power burst out, but then shattered. Ling Luoshi's divine power completely crushed his divine power. But at the moment of shattering, some elders found an opportunity and killed Wenzuan. At this time, there was only a fight. But before they got close to Wenzuan, boom. An even more terrifying force fell. Ling Luoshi appeared on the wall in the courtyard, looking at the courtyard with cold eyes. Without strength, you still jump around. This is the end. Ling Luoshi's cold voice echoed in the courtyard. Ah. Wenzuan attacked again. Killed several elders. For a moment, the bloody smell filled the air, and blood flowed out of the whole courtyard. The Cheyenne tribe leader roared, and wanted to attack. Don't overestimate your own abilities. Ling Luoshi snorted coldly. A force of gravity fell on the Cheyenne tribe leader, and the Cheyenne tribe leader's entire body was directly suppressed, and he stood on the ground with a bang. Such a weak divine power, the head of a clan also practiced. It's really disappointing. Ling Luoshi looked at the Cheyenne tribe leader and said, You. The Cheyenne tribe leader roared, trying to break free from this restraint. But at this time, Wenzuan, who had killed the others, flashed and disappeared in an instant. The next moment, appeared in front of the Cheyenne tribe leader at an incredible speed. He slapped his palm and hit the chest of the Cheyenne leader. Bang! The Cheyenne leader was hit by a palm, his chest collapsed, and blood spurted out of his mouth. But because his body was suppressed by Ling Luoshi's divine power, he could only stay where he was. Ah! He roared, and a layer of ki burst out of his body, trying to surge out. Bang! The surging true ki was instantly stepped into his body. Wenzuan raised his palm and grabbed the head of the Cheyenne leader with one palm and took off his head. Bang! Then the body of the Cheyenne leader exploded, and the whole person turned into a ball of flesh and blood. I'll leave it to you to finish it here. Hang the heads of all the members of the Shiansen leader's direct lineage at the door, Ling Luoshi ordered. Yes. Wen Zuan said. The killing continued. The entire Shiansen tribe suffered countless casualties, and flames shot up to the sky. Many people saw this, and didn't dare to get up for a while. The next day the direct lineage of the Shiansen clan, plus 108 heads of elders, were all hung at the gate of the manor. The scene was terrifying. People were so scared that they dared not approach the Shiansen clan's manor. This moment fully demonstrated the cruelty of the Qinglang society. It also reflected the words of Ling Luoshi, the previous leader of the Qinglang society, who was in the first month. The next day and later Luoyang City, when Zuan and Ling Luoshi are a bit cruel. Su Chen was shocked when he heard Yuan Suan's report. Master, this also let some people know that you can't mess with them. Yuan Suan agreed with this approach. The world is not just about being chivalrous. Sometimes you have to show absolutely terrifying means. This is the world. Master, this is an invitation from Holy Sword Lake. Holy Sword Lake will open tomorrow. Yuan Suan took out an invitation while speaking. Will it open tomorrow? Will Holy Sword Lake exist after tomorrow? Su Chen sighed. Has Mirren King Chen arrived? Su Chen asked afterwards. I've arrived and am in contact with Sima Changhan. He will probably come to see the headmaster soon. Yuan Suan said. I really want to know what the situation is with Emperor Zhao. For some reason, Su Chen always felt that something was fishy. Chapter 807 Kan Junmo's refusal. Holy Sword Lake opens. Who is the Emperor of Zhao? He suppressed the entire Great Zhao dynasty for an era. How could such a person be plotted against first, and then failed to break through, and was severely injured? This puzzled Su Chen. He wanted to learn from Mirren King Chen to see if he could get any clues. At this time, in another place, Fang Huoyuan and Kan Junmo were drinking. Tomorrow, the Holy Sword Lake will be opened. I will help Brother Qianjun stop the people of Lan Yuhao. When the time comes, Brother Qianjun will help me stop the people of Xianjianxi, so that I can get the Heavenly Holy Sword Cannon smoothly. Fang Huoyuan looked at Kan Junmo and said, Brother Fang, I got the news that the one who attacked you this time may be one of the 4 general envoys of Jiangnan. The strength of the 4 general envoys of Jiangnan is not ordinary. I'm afraid that my people can't stop them. Qian Junmo put down the wine glass and looked at Fang Huoyuan. Previously, he had thought about getting in touch with Fang Huoyuan so that he could have something to do with the Eternal Life Association after returning to Xianmen. But since the Qinglang Association showed stronger strength, Kan Junmo had some doubts. Because Fang Huoyuan offended Su Chen. According to the way the Qinglang Club is doing, Su Chen should not let Fang Huoyuan go. If he helps Fang Huoyuan now, it will be more trouble than gain. Why, Brother Qianjun, are you planning not to cooperate with me? Fang Huoyuan's face suddenly darkened when he heard Kan Junmo's words. His tone was also very bad. Brother Fang, since you have made it clear, I will also say it directly. The risk and benefit of cooperating with you are not proportional. Before, I didn't know that you had a grudge with the young dragon leader of the Qinglang Club. Qian Junmo introduced casually. It seems that Brother Qianjun has made up his mind. Fang will take his leave first. Brother Qianjun, I'm afraid you can't get the Sword Heart Cleargrass. Fang Huoyuan stood up, turned around and left. Are you threatening me? Qian Junmo looked at Fang Huoyuan and snorted coldly. Young master, will this offend Fang Huoyuan? After Fang Huoyuan left, the middle-aged man standing behind Qian Junmo said, it doesn't matter if he offends her, but it's still uncertain whether he can get over this hurdle. Qian Junmo said without caring. Young master, there is another bad news. Mu Qingxuan went to Luoyang City 2 days ago and met a person named Upiu. Now Mu Qingxuan is always around this Upiu. It seems that her heart has been captured, the middle-aged man said in a deep voice. Who is that Upiu? Qian Junmo couldn't help asking after hearing this. I don't know his specific origins, but his appearance is very attractive to women. Many women will fall in love with him when they see him, the middle-aged man said. He also envied Upiu's face. Which woman wouldn't be moved after seeing him? How did this Upiu make Mu Qingxuan fall in love with him? Qian Junmo couldn't help asking. He knew Mu Qingxuan and she didn't seem like someone who could fall in love with others. Appearance. The middle-aged man said in a deep voice. What? Kyan Junmo was stunned after hearing this news. He didn't expect it to be this. He looked at the middle-aged man beside him seriously and said, you said that it was because of Upiu's appearance that Mu Kingsuan fell in love with him? Indeed, there are few handsome men in the world. You will know it after seeing him. To be honest, young master, you are incomparable to that man's appearance. The middle-aged man sighed. He directly gave Kyan Junmo a verdict. Is that so? Hearing this, Kyan Junmo was stunned. This was an unsolvable question. But the news I got is that Mu Yuanping and Yang Yanlin who followed Mu Kingsuan to kill Upiu. The middle-aged man said. Really? If he can be killed, it will be a good thing for me. Don't worry about Mu Kingsuan for now. Tomorrow, when the Holy Sword Lake opens, I'm afraid there will be a chaos. You have to find a way to sneak into the depths of the sword tomb of the Holy Sword Lake during this chaos and take back a Jiangxin Tongming grass. Kyan Junmo said. There are 3 sword heart clear grasses in the Holy Sword Lake. When the Holy Sword Lake was opened, they took out one as a reward for the exchange of the young sword masters. Kyan Junmo had already discovered that he might not be able to get the sword heart clear grass this time, so he asked the middle-aged man to steal a sword heart clear grass during the chaos. So, young master, you have this plan. After hearing Kyan Junmo's words, the middle-aged man understood Kyan Junmo's plan. After knowing why Kyan Junmo rejected Fang Huoyuan, his emotions remained unchanged. This was already thought out. Outside the manor, on the carriage, Fang Huoyuan's face became gloomy. This Kyan Junmo actually gave up the alliance with me at this time. Are you really afraid of the Qinglang Society? He murmured. Young master, I got the news that Mu King has arrived in Luoyang City and should be coming for you. The old man beside him said. Mu King is not a concern. The main thing is the 4 general envoys of Jiangnan. Can you find out who the 4 general envoys of Jiangnan are? Fang Huoyuan asked in a deep voice. These 4 people are very mysterious. It is difficult to find them in a short time. The old man shook his head. Where is the Lord of Yama Palace? Arrange for me to meet him. He may be useful in the battle tomorrow. Fang Huoyuan said. Another place. In a courtyard, Sima Changhan, wearing a black cloak, stood behind Mirren Qingchen. General Envoy Sima, since you have found Fang Huoyuan's whereabouts, why don't you take action to capture him? Mirren Qingchen asked in a deep voice. She came to Luoyang City and learned that Sima Changhan had already found Fang Huoyuan's whereabouts a few days ago. Your Highness, Fang Huoyuan is the heir of the Changsheng Society. He dared to appear so blatantly. He should have a backup plan. If we can't take him down in one blow, it will be difficult to take him down later. Sima Changhan said calmly. So, General Envoy Sima has made a perfect layout and can take down Fang Huoyuan in one fell swoop. Mirren Qingchen looked at Sima Changhan and said, nothing will go wrong. I can only say that there is more than 90% certainty. Sima Changhan said. Then I will wait for General Envoy Sima's arrangements. Mirren Qingchen nodded. Mirren Qingchen didn't know the specific layout of Fang Huoyuan, and Sima Changhan didn't explain it to her in detail. So now she can only wait for Sima Changhan's arrangements. Then I will take my leave first. Tomorrow, the Holy Sword Lake will open, and it will be the time for me to close a net. I still need to make some arrangements. Sima Changhan bowed and said goodbye. The Holy Sword Lake is open. It seems that there will be major changes in the Holy Sword Lake tomorrow. I will go to see Xu Chen first. After Mirren Qingchen pondered for a moment, he was ready to go to see Xu Chen. At this time, a man in black walked in. Master, Ling Luoshi, the leader of the first month of the Qinglang Society, led people to destroy the Xianxin clan. The man in black bowed and said, did the Qinglang Society destroy the Xianxin clan of the 36 alien tribes? Mirren Qingchen's face suddenly changed. The leader of the 36 alien tribes is the Life family. The 36 alien tribes will definitely not be willing to be slaughtered head on like this. I still can't go to see Xu Chen for the time being. She is a princess of the Great Zhao dynasty and the sister of the 4th prince. The Life family is the mother of the 7th prince. If she goes to see Xu Chen at this time, things may develop in a bad direction. The 36 alien tribes are the foundation of the Life family. The Qinglang society has touched the foundation of the Life family, which is actually touching the foundation of the 7th prince. If you are not careful, it may cause a war between the princes. After the Holy Sword Lake is opened, I will go to see Su Chen secretly, King Chen thought to himself. The next day, the Holy Sword Lake was opened. All the Jianghu people in Luoyang City went towards the Holy Sword Lake. Chapter 808 Ren Qiangxing appears and challenges the Sword Master, 2 in 1. Outside the Holy Sword Lake, it can be said that there are many people. The young generation of sword masters in the Jiangnan area are attracted here. The Holy Sword Lake also attracts many young sword masters through the opening of the Holy Sword Lake every few years. At this moment, there are many people standing in the dense forest outside the Holy Sword Lake. When the Holy Sword Lake is opened, the Holy Sword Lake will give out a reward for young masters to compete. The competition is in a sword platform on the Holy Sword Lake. The sword platform is surrounded by water. Those who want to compete for the Sword Heart Cleargrass need to compete on the sword platform. On the sword platform, life and death are not a matter of life and death. You can admit defeat, but as long as you leave the sword platform, you are not allowed to fight again. Some people who watch the battle arrived very early, just to watch the battle between the young generation of sword masters. This was also a grand event in the past. That is Rang Rui from the Rang family in Xianyuan City. He started practicing sword at the age of 3. It is rumored that he has been using sword intent to melt the sword body. His sword practice is extraordinary. Suddenly, someone in the crowd spoke. After this person spoke, everyone looked in one direction. A young man holding a long sword was walking towards the lakeside. With one step, his figure was like a dragonfly skimming the water, moving forward on the lake. But when he was about to touch the sword platform, he suddenly felt a weight on his upper body, and his body was about to fall into the lake. Boom. The true energy in his body quickly burst out, stabilizing his body, and rushing into the sword platform. But beads of sweat fell on his forehead. The sword platform is not a casual one. That is the carriage of Lan Yuhao. I didn't expect Lan Yuhao to come to participate in the grand event of Holy Sword Lake. I heard that Lan Yuhao has said that he will stop Qian Junmo from taking the Sword Heart Cleargrass. Qian Junmo is here too. This grand event is really more lively than before. People on the shore were discussing. That is the carriage of Su Chen, the young leader of the Qinglang society. He is here too. While everyone was discussing, Su Chen and his carriage arrived outside Holy Sword Lake. That's the sword arena. If you want to compete for the Sword Heart Cleargrass, you have to compete on the sword arena. No matter life or death on the sword arena. The Holy Sword Lake has recruited many young sword masters through this. Many Zuanshang said as she looked at the sword arena in the center of the lake. Let's go. The fight at the Holy Sword Lake is not here. Su Chen looked at the sword arena and said. Although Su Chen didn't understand Sima Changhan's plan, the fact that he didn't move Fang Huoyuan meant that Fang Huoyuan would take action at the Holy Sword Lake, which was beneficial to Sima Changhan. After Su Chen got off the carriage, an elder of the Holy Sword Lake, wearing a sword robe came forward and led him into the villa. There was a hall in the villa. At the entrance of the hall, there was a large chair with a metallic luster. On both sides of the chair were 10 chairs. Su Chen was led to a high platform. There were many seats on the high platform, and the place where his eyes fell was the sword arena. Young Master Su, you can watch the battle here. The elder who led Su Chen and the others spoke. Su Chen nodded and found a place to sit down. Zuangji and the others sat behind Su Chen to prevent anyone from looking for him and having no place to sit. Brother Su. Not long after Su Chen sat down, Lan Yuhao's figure appeared beside Su Chen. You don't go to watch the sword competition. Qian Junmo wants the Sword Heart Cleargrass. Su Chen looked at the people fighting on the sword stage and said, my people have been arranged. Today, not only I will stop him, but Fang Huoyuan will also stop him. Lan Yuhao said with a smile on his face. While they were talking, a group of people came to the viewing platform one after another and sat down. Sima Changhan didn't show up. Su Chen looked at the figures who sat down one after another, and his eyebrows moved slightly. While he was thinking in his heart, King Chen's figure appeared, wearing a veil and a white long dress. Under the breeze, it floated with the wind, revealing a sense of beauty. King Chen went straight to the left side of Su Chen and sat down. Lan Yuhao glanced at King Chen. Brother Su, you have something to do. I won't bother you for now. Lan Yuhao looked at King Chen wearing a veil, a smile appeared on his face, and he turned to leave. Princess King Chen, long time no see. Su Chen greeted King Chen. Let's meet after Holy Sword Lake. You have been making a lot of moves recently. King Chen said softly. This is not a big deal. The disappearance of all 36 alien races is a big deal. I'm helping the 4th prince. Remember to ask the 4th prince to prepare some rewards for me. Su Chen said softly. Hearing Su Chen's words, King Chen was stunned under the veil. You can't say this. It will cause a fight between the 4th prince and the 7th prince. King Chen said hurriedly. Fighting, sooner or later, there is only one throne. If there is no fight, who will take the throne? Su Chen said softly. If we start fighting now, won't that make the fisherman take advantage? Otherwise, the emperor has been seriously injured for such a long time, which also indicates that he will select a prince to lead the country. But why don't so many princes take the lead? One move will affect the whole body, and it may be withdrawn directly, so no one dares to be reckless. King Chen did not speak, but transmitted the message cautiously. Fighting in the world has always been based on strength. If you have extremely strong strength, why don't you defeat the other party instantly? If the 4th prince needs it, the Lai family and the king of Lai Wu, King Lan Club, can handle it. Of course, the premise is that the price is right. Su Chen replied not yet. King Chen said. While speaking, Qian Junmo's figure appeared on the sword platform. When Qian Junmo appeared, Fang Huoyuan's figure also rushed into the sword platform. Fang Huoyuan. Seeing Fang Huoyuan appear on the sword platform, King Chen's eyes condensed. She came for Fang Huoyuan. Today, I, Qian Junmo, want the sword heart clear grass. You can leave now. Qian Junmo did not look at Fang Huoyuan, but spoke. Kill him first. When Qian Junmo spoke, someone spoke. Many people attacked Qian Junmo at once. At this time, 5 figures appeared on a row of chairs at the entrance of the hall. Among these 5 people, there was Lu Chimu, whom he had seen before. The 5 sat down on the left. 4 people also appeared on the right one after another. There was an empty seat next to the main chair. On the left are the 5 elders of Holy Sword Lake, and the 4 people on the right are the other 4 elders of Holy Sword Lake. There is another empty seat. I don't know who it is for. King Chen frowned. While King Chen was speaking, a figure walked out of the hall. He was tall, wearing a purple gold sword robe, with black hair loose, and his face looked quite handsome. He exuded endless sword intent. As soon as he appeared, he became the focus of the whole audience. It was Lu Wujian, the sword master of Holy Sword Lake. However, there was a handsome young man in a suit behind Lu Wujian. The young man had a calm temperament, like an abyss and a valley. His eyes were dark and deep, and sword shadows could be seen in his deep eyes. This young man's swordsmanship was not simple. Lu Wujian sat on the main chair, and the young man followed him, and sat in the empty seat on the right. Could this person be the next sword master? Su Chen's heart moved slightly. There was no such person in the information of Holy Sword Lake. I think this person is very low-key. Boom. At this moment on the sword stage, Qian Junmo's power exploded. The sword energy of the long sword in his hand burst out. A group of people close to Qian Junmo were shocked by the sword energy, and flew backwards, and fell into the lake. Fang Huoyuan did not make a move, but the sword in his hand faintly emitted a cold light. When Lu Wujian came out, he glanced at him, and then he no longer paid attention to Lu Wujian, but looked at Qian Junmo. Qian Junmo's swordsmanship was very strong. On the sword platform, except for Fang Huoyuan who did not attack, no one could defeat him with one sword. Brother Fang, you want to compete with me for the sword heart clear grass? Qian Junmo looked at Fang Huoyuan and said, I'm standing here for the sword heart clear grass. Fang Huoyuan looked at Qian Junmo and said coldly, then I really want to learn the sword moves of the Changsheng Society. While Qian Junmo was speaking, his figure turned into a phantom in an instant, and the whole person seemed to become a shadow, and for a while people could not catch his breath. But then a sharp sword light appeared in front of Fang Huoyuan like a waterfall. the sword light appeared, and Fang Huoyuan moved, and in a blink of an eye it floated out of the range of the sword light. But a dazzling sword light turned, and came in front of him in an instant. Fang Huoyuan drew his sword. The sword light was also a point, colliding with the sword light that attacked. Bang! The sword energy spread in all directions. At this moment, the young man sitting next to Lu Wujian said, "Master, Qian Junmo and Fang Huoyuan have not shown their strength. But how did they fight? It is rumored that Qian Junmo wants the sword heart clear grass to make his sword heart clear, but Fang Huoyuan, although he is also a sword master, has already cleared his sword heart. He is deliberately making things difficult for Qian Junmo." Hearing the young man's words, Lu Wujian said in a deep voice, "Many things cannot be judged by appearances. Such a fight can only be said to be a competition. They are not the focus." Lu Wujian did not watch the competition on the sword stage. Instead, he looked into the distance. The calm at this moment foreshadowed the coming of a storm. The heart of the sword made him sense a coming crisis. At this time, outside the Holy Sword Lake, in a cave in the dense forest. Inside the cave, the lights were bright. 3 figures sat in it. One was a middle-aged man in a grey robe with a scar on his face. His face looked extremely ferocious. In his palms, there was a pair of gloves emitting cold light. His fingers were clenching back and forth, making a crisp sound. Next to him was an old man with a thin body, dark complexion, and wearing a blue brocade robe. The old man held 2 blue beads in his skinny hands. The beads kept turning and emitting blue flames. Next to this skinny old man was an old man in a green robe. The old man had ordinary features, grey hair, 3 long beards under his chin, and an invisible sword intent emanated from his body. The sword intent was hidden, but could be unsheathed at any time. The 3 of them sat there, as if waiting for something. A figure rushed into the cave. This figure was the old man who was emitting deathly aura beside Fang Huoyuan. "The young master has ordered that you can go out. You must find an opportunity for me to enter the sword storage building in the Sword 2 man find the Heavenly Saint sword cannon," said the deathly old man. Yes. The 3 people in the cave left quickly, and the old man filled with death also left quickly. After they left, 2 figures walked out from the dark. It was Sima Changhan and Lin Xiaoshan. "Fang Huoyuan's people have moved. Let's arrange our people as well," Sima Changhan said. Yes. Lin Xiaoshan immediately stepped back to make arrangements. Sima Changhan looked at Lin Xiaoshan's leaving figure, with some melancholy in his eyes. At this moment, in the center of the lake, Qian Junmo and Fang Huoyuan were still fighting fiercely. But they did not burst out with all their strength. "Fang Huoyuan, you are stalling time. What do you want to do?" Qian Junmo looked at Fang Huoyuan with gloomy eyes. "I don't know what you are talking about. Qian Junmo, you can attack me with all your strength." Fang Huoyuan looked at Qian Junmo and said. Qian Junmo's eyes condensed. One move determines the outcome. The winner stays, and the loser leaves. Qian Junmo looked at Fang Huoyuan and said, "Okay." Fang Huoyuan heard this, condensed slightly, and then nodded. "You don't have to stay on this sword platform." A low and cold voice appeared beside the lake. The voice was not loud, but it was heard by everyone. Everyone looked towards the place where the voice came from. Ren Qianxing was carrying a sword case on his back and was walking forward step by step. Xian'ai Pavilion, Ren Qianxing, he is here, and the sword case behind him is from the Holy Sword Lake. What is he going to do? Some people saw Ren Qianxing with surprise in their eyes. Ren Qianxing didn't care about these and stepped to the lakeside. He kicked the ground with his feet. His body shot out and rushed directly onto the sword platform. "I want the sword heart Tang Ming grass. If you don't leave, then you will leave your life here." Ren Qianxing's voice was cold and overbearing. "Deputy Pavilion Master Ren wants the sword heart Tang Ming grass. Then I won't compete with Deputy Pavilion Master Ren for it." Qian Junmo clasped his fists, flashed, and left first. The spectators were stunned when they saw this scene. But thinking about Ren Qianxing's record, it was normal for Qian Junmo to leave like this. "Ren Qianxing, I didn't expect that the sword box was on him. It really came today." The young man next to the sword master looked at Ren Qianxing who appeared on the sword stage. A trace of fighting spirit flashed in his eyes. "This person is very strong. You are not his opponent. Don't fight with him." Looking at Ren Kaiaxing who appeared, Lu Wujian's eyes condensed, and he sent a voice to the people next to him. His eyes looked at the sword stage. At this time, only Fang Huoyuan was left on the sword stage. Fang Huoyuan's eyes flickered. He didn't expect Ren Kaiaxing to come and snatch the Jiangxin Tongming grass. The successor of the Changsheng Society. I really want to see how strong you are. Ren Kaiaxing's breath burst out, stepped forward, and a terrifying breath burst out of his body, with sword energy in his breath. The surrounding air was torn like porcelain under this sword intent. Then it enveloped Fang Huoyuan. Fang Huoyuan's expression changed. The opponent just urged the sword energy, and it was so powerful. Eternal life, Qian Luo, 18 swords. At this moment, Fang Huoyuan drew his sword, and the long sword in his hand instantly slashed out 18 swords. The 18 swords slashed out, and the sword energy tore through the air. The violent sword energy gathered together, forming a sword curtain, and heading towards Ren Kaiaxing. What a sharp sword energy! The people watching the battle exclaimed. Just now, when Fang Huoyuan and Kan Junmo were fighting, there was no such terrifying sword curtain. The sword energy tore, the sword light flashed, and people couldn't open their eyes, but the breath of the sword energy that came out wantonly made them feel cold in their hearts. Boom. But when this terrifying sword energy fell, it was completely resisted by the true energy that burst out from Ren Kaiaxing's body, and the falling sword light continued to shatter. Directly use the true energy to shatter the sword energy. What a domineering true energy. Seeing this situation, Lu Wujian's eyes condensed. What kind of skill is this? Seeing this scene, many people exclaimed at the strong aura on Ren Kaiaxing's body. Fang Huoyuan's eyes condensed. He didn't expect that his attack would be completely blocked by the opponent. He turned around and retreated directly. Take my sword too. Ren Kaiaxing raised his palm, used his arm as a sword, and slashed out with a sword. The thick sword energy penetrated everything and went towards Fang Huoyuan. Sword move. Fang Huoyuan shouted, and the sword energy in his body flowed into the long sword, and the long sword burst out with brilliant light. Slash. The long sword turned out and collided with the sword energy slashed by Ren Kaiaxing. Bang. With the help of two forces, he landed under the stands in the Holy Sword Lake manner. If the young master hadn't made a deal with Sima Changhan, I wouldn't let you leave the sword stage alive. Ren Kaiaxing thought to himself. No one appeared on the stage again. Ren Kaiaxing jumped and appeared under the viewing platform of Lu Wujian and others. Just now was just a warm-up, Sword Master. This time I came to Holy Sword Lake just to see your strength. Ren Kaiaxing didn't ask for the sword heart clear grass immediately. Instead, he wanted to challenge the Sword Master. This Ren Kaiaxing actually wants to challenge the Sword Master. Upon hearing the news, the crowd was in an uproar. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 809, Domineering Ren Kaiaxing. Sword Master, please teach me. How dare you? Ren Kaiaxing, this is Holy Sword Lake, not a place where you can be presumptuous. What qualifications do you have to challenge the Sword Master of my Holy Sword Lake? One of the 5 elders of Holy Sword Lake stood up and said sternly. As he spoke, the sword energy on this person burst out, and his eyes were cold. Previously, the Sword Master Lu Wujian predicted that Ren Kaiaxing came to Holy Sword Lake for the purpose of challenging him. When he heard this idea, he sneered. Did the Sword Master challenge casually? The strength that Ren Kaiaxing showed on the sword stage just now was very strong, but that was only relative to other people. He did not feel the strong sword intent on the other party. How could the lord of their Holy Sword Lake accept the challenge of others casually? Sitting on the main chair, the Sword Master Lu Wujian looked at Ren Kaiaxing standing on the square. Master, this Ren Kaiaxing is definitely an extremely terrifying strong man. But he didn't understand that the sword intent on the other party was not very strong. Sword cultivators, with their spirit, energy, and spirit, all have a kind of sword intent, but Ren Kaiaxing does not have it, which puzzles him. Sword Master, please teach me. But Ren Kaiaxing did not care about the elder who spoke and looked at Lu Wujian with a fighting spirit in his eyes. Okay, I also want to see the strength of Xian'ai Pavilion, Deputy Pavilion Master Ren. Lu Wujian stood up. The moment he stood up, boom. In the eyes of everyone, the aura on Lu Wujian changed, and in the blink of an eye, the whole person was like a giant sword holding up the sky. The sword way that Lu Wujian practiced was my body and my sword. This is a sword state that he comprehended in the sword tomb for 10 years. My body sword way. Sword masters have their own sword ways, and it is impossible to follow the sword way of others, otherwise their achievements will be limited. He raised his hand and grabbed a long sword in the hall. The long sword looked very ordinary, but when Lu Wujian touched him, the long sword in his hand began to tremble with a sense of joy and excitement. The sword heart was clear, and the sword heart was connected. Boom. Lu Wujian kicked the ground with his footsteps and landed directly in front of Ren Kaiaxing. Seeing this scene, many people were shocked. They didn't expect that the sword master would agree to fight with Ren Kaiaxing. Sima Changhan appeared in a black cloak, looking at the falling sword master and Ren Kaiaxing opposite him. His face showed surprise and murmured, "It's domineering enough, a direct challenge. It really surprised me. It seems that Ren Kaiaxing came to Holy Sword Lake for the purpose of challenging the sword master. I was fooled by Su Xiao Lang Xiao." At this moment, Sima Changhan had already understood in his heart that he was tricked by Su Chen. Bang! Just when everyone was surprised, on the small island in the center of the Holy Sword Lake, there was a shocking explosion. Sword Tomb. Someone is destroying the Sword Tomb on the island. A disciple of the Holy Sword Lake shouted in surprise. Ren Kaiaxing, you dare Xian'ai Pavilion. At this time, beside the elder who spoke earlier, an old man with a red face fell down and looked at Ren Kaiaxing fiercely. What he said was that what happened in Shengjian Lake Island was done by Xian'ai Pavilion. The sword master standing in the middle of the square had a calm expression. Today's storm, the Dark Hand has already made a move. Shengjian Lake is not worthy of my Xian'ai Pavilion to use such means. I came here today just to see the strength of the sword master. Of course, if I kill the sword master, then Shengjian Lake will be my base in the future. I don't want Shengjian Lake to suffer any losses. Ren Kaiaxing glanced at the other party and said coldly, "You." Seeing this, the old man who fell down exuded a terrible sword energy. These sword energies quickly gathered. "I will kill you with one sword." Boom. The thick sword energy cut through the void and fell, but what surprised everyone was that the sword energy was not aimed at Ren Kaiaxing, but at Lu Wujian. Lu Wujian's eyes turned cold, and a terrifying cold light burst out from his eyes, and his whole body exuded a terrifying aura. Boom. The terrifying sword energy appeared around him, and the whole person turned into a giant sword in an instant. The sword energy that attacked was all shattered before it got close and spread to the surroundings. At this time, Lu Chimu, one of the 5 elders, was beheaded by an elder beside him with a sword, and his head flew out and fell on the ground. Blood gushed out from his neck. On the other side, one of the 4 elders shot out and slashed at the young man who appeared with Lu Wujian. But his sword was fast. The figure of the young man was even faster. The figure of the young man changed and then turned into a green light. Swish. It instantly pierced through the man's body, and bang. The body exploded. A series of changes made people unable to recover for a while. Is there a civil strife in the Holy Sword Lake? Su Chen's eyes moved slightly when he saw this scene. Are these people Fang Huoyuan's people or Sima Changhan's people? Su Chen thought to himself. Yang Xianrong, you dare. The elder who spoke earlier attacked the elder who killed Lu Chimu. Yang Xianrong succeeded in his attack and quickly landed on the square, joining the elder who attacked Lu Wujian. The other 2 elders who caught up also appeared on the square, looking at the 2 fiercely. Yang Xianrong, Qinhe, you dare to betray the Holy Sword Lake. The old man who shouted at Ren Kaiaxing earlier stared at the 2 fiercely and said, Li Xiaochao, Lu Wujian, he wants to open the heaven gate with one sword. If he enters the heaven gate, what about us? Our lifespans are almost up. If we can't get to the heaven gate, we will die. But we don't want to die. Now we have the opportunity to enter the heaven gate. Why can't we betray the Holy Sword Lake? Yang Xianrong said coldly. Stepping into the heavenly gate, it seems that the person who contacted you is the Changsheng Association. I want to know what Fang Huoyuan wants. Lu Wujian looked at Yang Xianrang and said calmly, "Heavenly Sword Cannon." Qin next to him said, "Heavenly Sword Cannon, I didn't expect the Changsheng Association to send Fang Huoyuan here, and they actually wanted the Heavenly Sword Cannon of my Holy Sword Lake. It seems that the sword tome that entered later is also from the Changsheng Association. Fang Huoyuan, in order to get the Heavenly Sword Cannon, you have made so many arrangements in the Holy Sword Lake, which really surprised me. It's a pity that you won't get the Heavenly Sword Cannon." Lu Wujian glanced at Fang Huoyuan and then turned to look at Ren Kaiaxing. "Deputy Pavilion Master Ren, I wonder if I can deal with the internal affairs of my Holy Sword Lake first. I came to fight you because I want to fight with the strongest you, not wait until your strength is exhausted before fighting. You will die under my sword today, and you don't have to care about Holy Sword Lake anymore," Ren Kaiaxing said coldly. Hearing Ren Kaiaxing's words, everyone watching the battle couldn't help but gasp, because everyone thought that Ren Kaiaxing would agree to let the Sword Master deal with other matters in the Holy Sword Lake before fighting again. But unexpectedly, Ren Kaiaxing didn't agree at all. This person was too conceited and too domineering, and the tone of his voice made it seem as if the Sword Master would definitely die in his hands. Chapter 810 Sword Master Lu Wujian and Fang Huoyuan join forces. "You are really overbearing. I wonder if you, Lu Wujian, can break the situation today. If you can't, there will be no Holy Sword Lake after tomorrow." Sima Changhan looked at Ren Kaiaxing and couldn't help but say, at this moment, he had no intention of taking action. His purpose was, first, to take Fang Huoyuan away, and second, to weaken the power of Holy Sword Lake. Previously, he thought that other forces were targeting Holy Sword Lake. That's why he wanted to ask King Lan Club to involve the Sword Master so that he could take down Fang Huoyuan. But he didn't expect that the one who had ideas about Holy Sword Lake would be Fang Huoyuan from Changsheng Club. Things were unexpected. In this case, it might be difficult for him to take Fang Huoyuan away, because he has only found out the whereabouts of 3 of Fang Huoyuan's men. He doesn't know the rest of the situation. After all, the Sword Master is not an ordinary person. Since Changsheng Club asked Fang Huoyuan to come, there must be other masters hiding. His eyes were fixed on the square. At this time, the Sword Master's face was angry, and his eyes looked at Ren Kaiaxing like lightning. Ren Kaiaxing was too arrogant, and didn't even give him a chance to deal with the enemy. He also wanted to occupy their Holy Sword Lake. To do so, he had to kill Ren Kaiaxing first. Kill. At this moment, Li Xiaochao, one of the 5 elders who had shouted at Ren Kaiaxing earlier, seized this opportunity and attacked Ren Kaiaxing. He thrust out the long sword in his hand. The sword energy was like a sharp edge, with a strong penetrating force, heading towards Ren Kaiaxing's head. As long as the sword hits, it might be able to penetrate the opponent's body. Innate Ganki. Ren Kaiaxing snorted coldly. Boom. An extremely terrifying Ganki burst out from his body, forming a Ganki storm. The stabbing sword energy was shattered by the terrifying Ganki. Mighty Dragon Palm. At the moment when the sword energy was blocked, Ren Kaiaxing slapped. The Mighty Dragon Palm slapped out, and extremely terrifying and violent energy swarmed out, turning into a giant dragon, attacking the elder who had drawn the sword. Divine power, thunder, and fire moving. Seeing this, Li Xiaochao, who had made the move, shouted lowly and burst out his divine power, with a thunder and fire power in his divine power. Thunder and fire move the 9 heavens. When the divine power burst out, he slashed with a sword. The power of thunder and fire appeared in the sword energy, with thunder in the fire and fire in the thunder. The terrifying power made the weather begin to change. For a moment, there was only the golden dragon shadow colliding with the thick thunder and fire sword energy in the world. The key is as deep as the abyss, and the palm is like a tiger. Maybe the sword is just auxiliary. Seeing this scene, the sword master's eyes condensed, and a slight surprise appeared on his face. Boom. When his voice fell, the dragon shadow shattered the sword energy and slapped the chest of Li Xiaochao, who made the move. Bang. Li Xiaochao screamed, and blood spurted out of his mouth. The whole person was like a flying cannonball, hitting the steps in the square. Swish. At this moment, Yang Xianrang rushed out and appeared in front of Li Xiaochao. The long sword in his hand pierced the opponent's throat like a stream of light. Yang Xianrang Yu. Seeing this, the elder who was blocking Qin He was about to move. But when he moved, Qin He blocked him. For a moment, one of the 5 elders of Holy Sword Lake, there were only 3 left, and 2 of them betrayed Holy Sword Lake. At this moment, the sword master's eyes flashed with cold light. His eyes looked at Yang Xianrang. Boom. The aura on his body enveloped Yang Xianrang. Yang Xianrang had just killed Li Xiaochao with a sword, and just wanted to retreat, but a terrifying force surged towards him. Ren Qianxing, let's kill the sword master together, and, Holy Sword Lake, can belong to you. At this time, Fang Huayan, who was far away, looked at Ren Qianxing and said, are you ordering me to do something? You are not worthy of cooperating with me. Ren Qianxing glanced at Fang Huayan. Ren Qianxing, you dare. Hearing Ren Qianxing say this, Fang Huayan's face showed anger. Say it again, I'll kill you first. Although Su Chen had a deal with Sima Changhan, he did not say that Fang Huayan must not be killed. Jumping in front of him again, he killed with a sword. Boom. Just as Ren Qianxing finished speaking, the sword master drew his sword. He did not show his divine power, but simply drew his sword. With one sword strike, a silver light burst out instantly, and the speed was so fast that it seemed to merge with the world in an instant, and it was as if the world was suddenly split into 2 and appeared in front of Yang Xianrang. Divine power. Yang Xianrang wanted to burst out his divine power, but as soon as he spoke, his body paused, and the whole person was split into 2. He fell to the ground, and blood flowed out for a while. What a fast sword, Sword Master, your power is stronger. Sima Changhan, who was watching the battle, was shocked and his eyes condensed slightly. At this moment, the square became silent. Qin He, who was confronting another elder, showed a look of horror. I didn't expect things to turn out like this. He was angry that Yang Xianrang had taken action privately and shook off the person fighting with a sword, and his figure went to Fang Huayan's side. Now, it is safest to be with Fang Huayan. Sima Changhan, why hasn't he made a move yet? What is he waiting for? Mirren Chen thought to himself. He looked around, trying to find Sima Changhan. However, many people around were watching the battle. They originally came to see the grand occasion, but they didn't expect to see a shocking battle. Boom. At this moment, a terrifying sword energy erupted from Jiangxin Island. The sword energy turned into several sword masters that enveloped Jiangxin Island. Sword Master, the sword formation of the sword tomb has been triggered. The remaining elder said. Taizin, you and Elder Lan take people to the sword tomb, and leave this to me. Lu Wujian took a look and the young man who came with him said. This is the sword master token. Now you are the sword master of Holy Sword Lake. As he spoke, a token flew out of his hand, and landed in the young man's hand. Today, Holy Sword Lake, Sword Taizin becomes the 18th sword master of Holy Sword Lake. The moment the young man received the token, Lu Wujian's voice rang out over the entire Holy Sword Lake. Yes. Sword Taizin said to everyone. He glanced at Fang Huayan. Fang Huayan, Cheng Shenghu, this vengeance, I, Holy Sword Lake, will definitely avenge. After saying that, he led his men to Jiangxin Island quickly. Fang Huayan just glanced at Giant Aixin, his eyes showing a trace of disdain. At this moment, the sword master Lu Wujian's eyes fell in front of Ren Qianxing. Then they fell on Fang Huayan. If you want Heavenly Saint Sword Cannon, I can give it to you, and we can kill Ren Qianxing together. Heavenly Saint Sword Cannon is for you. Sword Master Lu Wujian suddenly spoke. Yes. Hearing the words of Sword Master Lu Wujian, Fang Huayan was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Lu Wujian to cooperate with him. Don't be surprised. Ren Qianxing's goal is to swallow my Holy Sword Lake, and you only want Heavenly Saint Sword Cannon. I know how to choose. Moreover, I know that there should be a wave of forces in the dark that have not yet appeared. I really want to know who the forces in the dark are. This is half of the Heavenly Saint Sword Cannon. When Lu Wujian spoke, he held an ancient leather in his hand. With a move of sword energy, the ancient leather split into 2. then half flew to Fang Huoyuan. Fang Huoyuan caught the ancient leather and checked it out, and a look of joy appeared on his face. Lu Wujian, I didn't expect Heavenly Saint Sword Cannon to be on you, but your choice is not bad. I also want to kill this Ren Kaiaxing. Fang Huoyuan's face showed a trace of ferocity. Just now, Ren Kaiaxing rejected his face and wanted to kill him. I'm really disappointed. I didn't expect you to choose this way. Ren Kaiaxing looked at Lu Wujian with a cold face. For the strong, compromise is a kind of shame. At this time, the scene became even quieter. The two sides who were fighting for life and death just now actually wanted to join forces to deal with Ren Kaiaxing. Sima Changhan's eyes narrowed. His gaze turned. He was considering whether to take action. Wait a little longer. Fang Huoyuan's backup has not appeared yet. Sima Changhan thought to himself. His eyes were looking at Su Chen on the viewing platform. Kinglan Club has experts there who should be able to help Ren Kaiaxing. Chapter 811 One man fights 4 swords. 1 sword separates worlds. 2 in 1. On the viewing platform, Mirren Chen couldn't help but look at Su Chen beside him. Sima Changhan didn't show up. It seems that he will show up after the person behind Fang Huoyuan shows up, or after they fight each other. Mirren Chen said, that's a pity. Su Chen sighed. Sima Changhan didn't show up at this time. He must be thinking of taking more advantage. Sigh, don't you, Kinglan Club, help Ren Kaiaxing? I know that your Kinglan Club has an extremely strong swordsmanship master in Luoyang City. Hearing Su Chen's sigh, Mirren Chen couldn't help but ask. She thought Su Chen's sigh was for Ren Kaiaxing. If Kinglan Club didn't take action, then Ren Kaiaxing could only face the sword master Lu Wujian and Changsheng Club alone. Kinglan Club didn't take action, but I sighed. Not Ren Kaiaxing, not Fang Huoyuan, but Sima Changhan. Su Chen said. Sigh Sima Changhan? Mirren Chen was slightly stunned. She didn't quite understand what Su Chen meant. Fang Huoyuan will die here today. He can't take him away. Su Chen said. Die here? You mean Ren Kaiaxing will kill Fang Huoyuan? How is this possible? There must be another expert beside Fang Huoyuan. Mirren Chen said. She didn't quite believe what Su Chen said. When she finished speaking, Fang Huoyuan said to the dark, please welcome the 4th elder. Although the voice was not loud, everyone present could hear the other party's voice. Everyone looked around, trying to find the whereabouts of the 4th elder. At this moment, Sima Changhan's eyes condensed. I didn't expect that guy to come. When Sima Changhan spoke, his eyes were solemn, which showed that the 4th elder mentioned by Fang Huoyuan was not simple or thin old man wearing a black brocade robe and with an indifferent face walked out of the crowd. The old man stepped forward, his jet black hair moved without wind, and a terrifying aura wafted through his body. People who were close to him were instantly like a heavy mountain falling under this aura, and the whole person fell to the ground with a bang. The 4th elder of the Eternal Life Association, Qin Muliang. Seeing this person, Sima Changhan's eyes flashed with light. I didn't expect that the 4th elder song would come to my Holy Sword Lake. The Sword Master looked at Qin Muliang and said, Sword Master, you made a very wise decision. The Heavenly Saint Sword Classic is exchanged for your Holy Sword Lake Foundation. It's worth it. Qin Muliang appeared and looked at the Sword Master Lu Wuji and Ao. I don't understand that although the Heavenly Saint Sword Classic is good, the Eternal Life Association should not lack sword skills. Lu Wujian looked at Qin Muliang and said, Huoyuan swordsmanship needs to be honed. The Heavenly Saint Sword Classic is a record of the sword masters of your Holy Sword Lake from generation to generation. It is of great help to Huoyuan swordsmanship. Qin Muliang said, let's work together. Let's get rid of Ren Kaiaxing first. Then you give us the second half of the Heavenly Sword Cannon, and we'll leave. When Qin Muliang spoke, he looked at Ren Kaiaxing, his eyes fixed, and he said in a cold voice, you are talented, but too arrogant. Today, you will die in the Holy Sword Lake. Kill me, you old man, Ren Kaiaxing said coldly. Hearing Ren Kaiaxing's words, Qin Muliang's face became gloomy, and the whole person exuded a gloomy and bloodthirsty aura. An extremely dangerous feeling permeated Ren Kaiaxing. I thought you were already arrogant enough before, but I didn't expect you to be even more arrogant than I saw before. I really want to know where your arrogant confidence comes from." Qin Million looked at Ren Qianxing. "Where does it come from?" "Of course, it comes from your own strength." Ren Qianxing's eyes were also cold. For a while, many people looked at Ren Qianxing with horror. When everyone was surprised, Ren Qianxing stepped forward, and his body moved automatically without wind. "Since you have appeared, Swordmaster, you should attack together with him, otherwise I will have to kill him once more." Ren Qianxing's aura surged. The terrifying energy pressed towards the two people at the same time. He wanted to fight the Swordmaster and the four elders of the Eternal Life Society with his own strength. The Swordmaster's eyes suddenly turned cold. Ren Qianxing had already made him angry before. Now he was even more murderous and wanted to die. Boom. A terrifying sword energy emerged from the Swordmaster's body. The appearance of this sword energy actually attracted the surrounding airflow. The airflow from all directions surged instantly, crushing Ren Qianxing's body like a tide. This airflow seemed extremely sharp under the surge of sword energy. It penetrated everything. The ground where the airflow passed instantly cracked, and then it was lifted up, and the gravel and dust flew. Ren Qianxing's eyes condensed slightly. He could sense the sharpness of this airflow, and a strong qi gang emerged from his body. The innate qi gang flowed out. Those who pressed the airflow collided with the influx of Qijin, and could not go any further for a while. This qi gang is not simple, it is extremely strong. Seeing this scene, Qin Million's eyes condensed, and then his face became ferocious. "Divine power, bloody gate." Qin Million shouted, and a terrifying blood-colored breath burst out behind him, and this breath condensed into a huge blood-colored giant gate behind him. Hell, heaven blood claw. When the divine power appeared, Qin Million raised his palm and grabbed Ren Qianxing with one claw. The blood-colored true qi burst out, forming a huge blood-colored claw, falling towards Ren Qianxing. "Divine power, I'm a sword." At this moment, Lu Wujian also shouted, and a force burst out from him. This force formed a huge figure, which was almost the same as his own. But it revealed a sharp sword light. Kendo, 3 absolute sword kills. Lu Wujian raised the long sword in his hand, and slashed it out. When he slashed it out, the long sword turned into a huge sword shadow, and the sword shadow instantly turned into 3 sword lights and fell down. 2 terrifying forces appeared. The wind and clouds surged between heaven and earth, and it was extremely dark, bloody, and the sword energy was raging. Sensing these 2 forces, the innate Ganki in Ren Qianxing's body flowed at a very fast speed, and the Ganki power on his body continued to rise, forming a terrifying vortex. The falling sword light collided with the bloody giant claw, and the sound was earth-shaking. The viewing platform where Su Qin and the others were also shaking, and his eyes were fixed on the center of the square. The terrifying sword light and the terrible blood claws were all inserted into the Ganki vortex. A rumbling and terrifying sound was made. The sword light and the bloody palm wanted to go further, but they were bound by the Ganki and could not enter in front of Ren Qianxing at all. As time passed, the sword energy and the bloody palm were squeezed and broken by the Ganki vortex, and finally dissipated. "You can't even break my innate energy. How can you defeat me?" Ren Qianxing's deep and domineering voice echoed in the air. "You help others and seek death yourself. I will kill you first." Ren Qianxing looked at the 4 elders of the Eternal Life Society. While speaking, the sword box behind him suddenly flew into the air and separated in an instant. 7 long swords appeared in the sword box. He raised his palm. 1, 2, 3, and 4 long swords flew out and were caught in his hand. Divine power, a sword across the world. Ren Qianxing's eyes flashed with cold light and he shouted. Suddenly, a terrifying aura enveloped the 4 long swords, and the cold and fierce murderous intent instantly rushed into the sky. The aura of heaven and earth seemed to be affected by this aura, and the surrounding airflow began to condense. Short thunders appeared in the sky. Seeing this, the sword master Lu Wujian's pupils were suddenly startled, and the sword energy on his body began to condense. His eyes were fixed on Ren Qianxing. The feeling of extreme danger before came from here. Lu Wujian thought to himself. When he saw Ren Qianxing before, he felt that this person was extremely dangerous, but he did not feel the source of this danger from him. Now the other party drew his sword. A very special sword move. 4 long swords should be able to send you on your way. Ren Kaiaxing looked at Kinmiliang of the Eternal Life Society with cold eyes. Helping others, so you will be the first to die. Ren Kaiaxing showed a cold arc at the corner of his mouth. The 4 long swords held in his hands were suspended in front of him. His right hand held the hilts of the 4 long swords, and his left and right hands held the swords. The 4 long swords pointed at Kinmiliang. At the moment when the sword tips pointed at Kinmiliang, endless thunder appeared between heaven and earth and poured into the long swords. Kinmiliang of the Eternal Life Society was also horrified. He felt like he was locked by the sharp sword energy. Changsheng, Jiuao. Kinmiliang shouted. The ki in his body circulated rapidly, and endless death aura burst out from his body. The whole person was filled with black ki, just like everyone in Jiuao hell. Jiuao, Heaven Claw. The black ki burst out, and his palm was full of ki. He raised his hand and clawed out. He had a feeling in his heart that he couldn't let the other party perform this move. Luwu sword, attack, don't hold back. Kinmiliang shouted at Luwu sword at the same time. The sword intent burst out from Luwu sword, and the long sword in his hand was raised. The sword intent soared to the sky. A terrifying sword light appeared in the dark sky. Wu sword, sword moves the sky. Luwu sword shouted, and the long sword slashed out. The sound of the sword breaking through the air was like a ghost's howl, tearing the air and heading towards Ren Kaiaxing. The sword was faster than the claw. Boom. Ren Kaiaxing's innate ki burst out, and his eyes didn't care about this sword. A sword separates the world. The 4 long swords in his hands shot out instantly, turning into a thunderbolt, and seemed to disappear in an instant. However, lightning and thunder appeared between heaven and earth, and there was a sense of terror in the lightning and thunder. A sword cuts across the world. The sword light shook the earth. The sky claw that Kinmiliang blasted out was instantly pierced by this sword. His own attack was pierced. Kinmiliang was shocked. He didn't expect that his attack would be pierced so easily. He wanted to move and change his position, but the surrounding space seemed to be imprisoned. He fell into a moment of eternity. In this moment of eternity, he felt that his heart began to move, his skin exploded, and blood spurted out. He was shocked. Before the sword light arrived, the 110 sword energy could actually break his aura and pierce his skin. Seeing this situation, Kinmiliang raised his palm with all his strength, bursting out with energy, trying to block this sword. Although this situation looked very slow, it happened in a flash. Boom. At this moment, the sword light of Luwu sword slashed on Ren Kaiaxing's innate ki. The ki was roaring. The energy was raging and spreading around. For a moment, the situation in the square could not be seen at all. Swish. At this moment, a sword light pierced through Kinmiliang's palm and his heart. He couldn't stop it at all. This is impossible. At the moment when the sword light pierced his heart, he roared, and he didn't believe that he was pierced by this sword light. Roaring. In addition to the ki bursting, Sima Changhan's eyes condensed when he heard the sound. This voice is Kinmiliang's voice. He heard who made the voice. At this moment, the energy dissipated. Luwu sword held the long sword, with shock in his eyes. He still couldn't cut the ki on Ren Kaiaxing's body with one sword. Then he looked at Kinmiliang. At this time, Kinmiliang's expression was ferocious, and there was unwillingness in the ferocity. Why can't I even block your move? He looked at Ren Kaiaxing and said, you should feel honored to be able to use 4 long swords to perform this move. What's there to be unwilling about? Ren Kaiaxing said in a cold voice. 4 long swords. Then how many are your strongest? Kinmiliang asked after hearing Ren Kaiaxing's words. There was hope in his eyes. He seemed to want to know. At this moment, Ren Kaiaxing and his conversation shocked the people watching the battle. He couldn't help but look at the people around him, trying to find the answer from them. But the spectators didn't know. Because the 3 of them could speak now, they didn't know what happened at all. Suddenly, Sima Changhan and others' eyes condensed, because at the position of Kinmiliang's heart, suddenly, a light spot appeared, and the light spot burst out, and then Kinmiliang's body seemed to be torn apart. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a ball of flesh and blood. The heart was pierced by a sword, so sharp, so domineering a sword. Seeing this scene, Sima Changhan's pupils suddenly shrank, and his eyes stared at Ren Qianxing vigilantly. Ren Qianxing actually killed Qin Miliang, the 4th elder of the Changsheng society, with one sword. 4th elder. Fang Huoyuan's face changed when he saw this scene. Ren Qianxing, you dare to kill my Changsheng society elder? He looked at Ren Qianxing fiercely. So what if I kill him? Not only will I kill him, but you will die too. Ren Qianxing ignored the sword master Lu Wujian and looked at Fang Huoyuan. I promised others to keep you, but since the other party didn't make a move, I will send you to the road with the 4th elder. Ren Qianxing's eyes were cold. Sima Changhan didn't make a move. He now had the intention to kill. So Fang Huoyuan must die too. Hearing this, Mirren Qingchen was stunned and looked at Su Chen. Now she understood that Su Chen's side just now was indeed for Sima Changhan. Ren Qianxing's words just now were very clear. That is, he would not leave Fang Huoyuan alive. Ren Qianxing gave Sima Changhan a chance to make a move just now, but he didn't. If you miss the chance, you won't have it again. Su Chen said calmly. The opportunity has been given, and you want to reap the benefits, so Ren Qianxing doesn't need to abide by anything. At this moment, Sima Changhan in the dark was stunned. He wanted to move. Whoever stops me today, I will kill him. When Sima Changhan was about to move, Ren Qianxing's low voice echoed in the air. A long sword was raised instantly. The aura on Fang Huoyuan's body was not worth him using more than one long sword to cut through the world. Fang Huoyuan suddenly felt that his body was locked. His pupils constricted. The energy on his body surged. Then a layer of metallic luster appeared on his hands, and this luster appeared as if with a hazy energy. Kill me, do you think I, Fang Huoyuan, am so easy to kill? Swordmaster, release your power, use the strongest means, and kill this Ren Qianxing. He is now much more dangerous than me. Fang Huoyuan said, looking at the swordmaster not far away. Chapter 812. Terrifying ability, simulating sword moves, imitation of a sword across the worlds. Liberate the power. Could it be that the power of the swordmaster is already able to open the gate of heaven? If that's the case, the previous transfer of power to Giant Axin was not a temporary move, but a long-term plan. Hearing Fang Huoyuan's words, the people watching the battle thought of many things at once. Then they looked at Lu Wujian with horror. Don't worry about others first, see if you can take my sword first. The true energy in Ren Qianxing's body poured into the long sword. Fang Huoyuan's expression changed drastically, and his heart was locked by a terrifying sword energy. The sword master not far away also sensed this situation. His eyes condensed. When Ren Qianxing attacked Qin Miliang just now, he used this sword. At that time, the power that erupted when the 4 long swords gathered into one long sword even shocked him. Ren Qianxing not only has 4 long swords, but 7 long swords. How powerful would the 7 long swords be if they were used? Sword box. Maybe he came here for the sword box. I just don't know if he can perform a sword that combines 7 swords to cut through the world with his own skills. Lu Wujian thought to himself. Just after killing Qin Miliang, he found that Ren Qianxing's internal energy was greatly consumed. He could clearly sense it. Lu Wujian, are you not going to make a move? Fang Huoyuan, who was locked by the energy, looked ferocious. He didn't expect that Lu Wujian had no intention of making a move at this time. It's better to rely on yourself than on others. But, at this moment, an extremely sharp sword energy condensed on the long sword in Ren Qianxing's hand, and the sword energy burst out instantly, like an aurora ray. Sword light, extremely sharp. The air around seemed to stop, and only the terrifying sword light was seen. Eternal life, never hand. Seeing this, Fang Huoyuan's internal energy surged, covering his palms, and he clenched his fists and crossed them to protect his heart. He wanted to use his arms to block the opponent's sword. Boom. The sword light collided with the arm, and layers of energy emerged on the arm to resist the sharp sword light. My glove is almost at the spiritual level, and your sword can't break it at all. Fang Huoyuan roared. His whole body was full of energy, and with a bang, violent true energy surged out and gathered madly on his arm to resist Ren Qianxing's sword. For a time, sand and rocks flew, and the scene was horrifying. Crack. Just as this attack continued, a crack appeared on the long sword in Ren Qianxing's palm. As the crack appeared, Ren Kaiangxing's true energy dissipated, and the sword light disappeared. Ordinary longswords really don't work. Looking at the cracked longsword in his hand, Ren Kaiangxing sighed. Although these longswords were made by him at great expense, compared with his domineering sword energy, ordinary longswords simply cannot bear it for a long time. Moreover, this longsword was one of the 4 longswords that had just been used to kill Kin Million of the Eternal Life Society with a sword across the world. The sword has cracks. Ren Kaiangxing's move is so domineering. Ordinary longswords can't withstand such sword energy. Whispering voices spread quickly. Fang Huayan, who blocked the attack, slowly lost the nervous look on his face, and a cold look appeared on his face. I didn't expect that Deputy Pavilion Master Ren didn't have a decent sword. What a pity. It just so happens that I can use a sword. Let Deputy Pavilion Master Ren see how my swordsmanship is. As he spoke, Fang Huayan drew a soft sword from his waist, and the sword was infused with true energy, emitting a sharp sword light. With the long sword in hand, a terrifying sword intent emerged from Fang Huayan's body. He also uses a sword. King Chen on the viewing platform condensed his eyes slightly. Just now, Kin Million asked for the Heavenly Saint Sword Cannon from the Holy Sword Lake for Fang Huayan. It's not surprising that he can use a sword. Su Chen said calmly. Divine power, sword shadow boom. A divine power burst out from Fang Huayan, and as the divine power appeared, a series of blurred sword shadows emerged behind him. Sword shadows. Seeing this, Su Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. My long sword is also a top level weapon. I wonder how powerful it will be when you use the sword to separate the world just now. Fang Huayan looked at Ren Kaiangxing, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. He moved his feet. The long sword was placed in front of his chest. It was very similar to the sword move Ren Kaiangxing had just made. The true body sword intent emerged, and a point appeared at the tip of the sword. Seeing this scene, everyone's eyes narrowed. This move was very similar to Ren Kaiangxing's sword move. I have a talent since I was very young. As long as I see someone's sword move once, I can imitate the opponent's sword move. It was just imitation before, but I used this ability to condense my divine power and sword shadow. Simulating the sword move you see in the divine power can make this move real, no longer an imitation. You should feel honored to die under your own sword move. Fang Huayan looked at Ren Kaiangxing and said. Hearing Fang Huayan's words, everyone was shocked. They didn't expect Fang Huayan to have such an ability to imitate other people's sword intent. He also condensed his own divine power for this imitation. This Fang Huayan is really talented, worthy of being the successor of the Changsheng Society. Su Chen looked at Fang Huayan and said. Will Ren Kaiangxing be in trouble now? King Chen looked a little solemn. Fang Huayan's strength exceeded expectations. His eyes continued to look around, and suddenly his eyes fell on one place. Sima Changhan is there. King Chen looked at a person wrapped in a black robe and said. Sima Changhan sensed King Chen's gaze, and just nodded slightly, then looked at Fang Huayan with a serious expression. The successor of the Changsheng Society should not be underestimated. It turns out that he is plotting the Heavenly Saint Sword Cannon of Holy Sword Lake, which should be to integrate the Sword Dao perception of the successive sword masters of Heavenly Saint Lake into his own sword shadow. If he is allowed to integrate this perception into the sword shadow, this Fang Huayan will definitely become very terrifying. I don't know if Ren Kaiangxing can break through. His eyes flickered. On the other side, the sword master's eyes also changed. As a sword cultivator, he knew the horror of this ability. He looked at Ren Kaiangxing. Die. When the sword master looked at Ren Kaiangxing, the sword light in Fang Huayan's hand burst out. The long sword in his hand is a top level weapon, and the sword energy that bursts out is even more terrifying. Whoosh. The sword light swept out violently, bringing a sharp wave of earth-shaking waves, and went towards Ren Kaiangxing. Facing this sword, the innate energy in Ren Kaiangxing's body burst out. But it was not concentrated on his body, but in his hands. He raised his palm and slapped it out. Innate energy, mighty dragon palm. Ren Kaiangxing combined the innate energy and mighty dragon palm. The golden flying dragon in his hand flew out into the air and collided with the sword light. Boom. The two forces collided. There was a rumbling sound. Then a shocking storm appeared, and in the storm, Ren Kaiangxing's divine power suddenly rose, and the terrifying divine power burst out with a sharp sword light like his sword moves, pressing towards Fang Huoyuan's divine power. At this time, 3 long swords appeared in his hand, including the long sword that was about to break. 3 swords merge into one. One sword separates the world. Chapter 813. My target is always you, the sword master. Buzz. 3 long swords gathered. The power in Ren Kaiangxing's body gathered towards the 3 swords like a wave. The 3 swords burst out with strong sword light. It seemed that there were countless sword beams, which were sharp and terrifying. When outsiders saw the sword light, their eyes seemed to be stabbed, and they could only close their eyes. Whoosh! In an instant, the sword light burst out. The moment the sword light rose, it led to the change of the key of heaven and earth. Fang Huoyuan had just performed a sword to separate the world. Although it was also strong, it did not have such momentum. This Fang Huoyuan, who saw this scene, changed his face. Sword moves, ascending dragon, cut the world. This time, he did not imitate Ren Kaiangxing's sword move to separate the world. Just now, although he imitated the sword to separate the world, he had not reached the realm of godlike, could not reach the strongest, and consumed too much true energy. So he temporarily gave up performing Ren Kaiangxing's sword to separate the world. The long sword was raised. The true energy in the body whistled out and poured into the long sword. Under the infusion of true energy, the long sword burst out a terrifying sword aura, and a dragon shadow appeared above the sword aura. The dragon shadow rose to the sky, roaring and whistling. Cut! Fang Huoyuan shouted in a low voice. Bang! The sword dragon slashed out and collided with the sword light of the sword. The sword dragon was pierced by the sword light, attacking Fang Huoyuan. Fang Huoyuan hurriedly protected the long sword in his hand in front of his chest, trying to block the sword. Swish! The sword light penetrated his long sword and went towards his body. Bang! Fang Huoyuan was hit by the sword and shot backwards, hitting a step. A mouthful of blood spurted out. But the sword light failed to penetrate the opponent's body, because a silver light appeared on Fang Huoyuan's body. The silver light was a piece of armor. This Fang Huoyuan has armor on his body. He can block this sword. This armor must be extraordinary. He is worthy of being the heir of the Eternal Life Society. He has many treasures on his body. Seeing this scene, many people said in surprise. At this moment, the 3 swords in Ren Kaiangxing's hand all shattered, turned into pieces, and fell to the ground. Haha, Ren Kaiangxing, although your sword is very strong, you can't penetrate my body. How can you kill me? Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Fang Huoyuan stood up and growled. HMPH. My sword is broken, but is your armor still intact? Ren Kaiangxing looked at Fang Huoyuan and said coldly. You. Hearing Ren Kaiangxing's words, Fang Huoyuan looked at the armor at his heart, and there was a crack there. His pupils shrank. He didn't expect his armor to have a crack. I'm afraid he can't withstand another blow from the opponent. His eyes were fierce. The fist in his hand appeared again. Now he must attack to defend, because the opponent still has 4 long swords. He looked at the sword master, Lu Wujian. He still has 4 swords left. Kill him together, and I will retreat immediately. Fang Huoyuan said. I'm waiting for you to decide the winner. The sword master's expression did not move. He was observing Ren Kaiangxing's aura and his sword moves, and then he was looking at how to break Ren Kaiangxing's move. Hearing Lu Wujian's words, Fang Huoyuan's eyes condensed. He didn't expect Lu Wujian to not make a move at this time. He looked at Ren Kaiangxing. Ren Kaiangxing, aren't you going to challenge Lu Wujian and occupy this holy sword lake? Now you have 4 swords left, which can kill Lu Wujian. I will retreat now. Fang Huoyuan looked at Ren Kaiangxing weakly. You must die today. The 4 long swords left in Ren Kaiangxing's sword box quickly flew into his hands. Just now, your Chengsheng Association elders fell under my 4 swords. I don't know if the weapon level weapon defense can block my sword. 4 swords merge into one. One sword separates the world. Ren Kaiangxing gathered the 4 long swords together. The energy on his body poured into the long swords. For a moment, a more terrifying killing intent permeated his long swords. Fang Huoyuan saw this scene, and his pupils suddenly shrank. raising all his own true ki to the limit. The ki in his palm surged. Sword shadow, use fist as shadow, heavy sword merge into one. Fang Huoyuan roared. The divine power burst out, and a fist shadow appeared in the sword shadow, and the fist shadow and the sword shadows all gathered together. Boom. Finally, it fell down in the way of fist turning into sword. At this time, Ren Kaiangxing's four long swords merged into one, emitting a sword light. The sword light was sharp and swift, like flying from the sky, forming a bright and dazzling light, which came out in an instant and penetrated everything. It collided with the falling sword shadow. The sword shadow was penetrated. Fang Huoyuan was shocked, and he grabbed with his palm, and a suction force was generated, grabbing Qinhe, the elder of Holy Sword Lake, not far behind him, in front of him. He wanted to use Qinhe's body to resist this sword, but the sword light penetrated Qinhe's body. In the blink of an eye, it appeared in front of Fang Huoyuan. The silver light on Fang Huoyuan's body burst out again. Puff. Blood splattered. The sword light penetrated the armor, and penetrated Fang Huoyuan's body. The sword light dissipated. Fang Huoyuan stood, and looked at Ren Kaiangxing. Two weapon level weapons failed to block your sword. If I were given time, I would definitely be able to imitate your sword. Fang Huoyuan stared at Ren Kaiangxing and said, unfortunately, there is no if. Ren Kaiangxing said coldly. Plop. Fang Huoyuan fell to the ground, his face extremely unwilling. Fang Huoyuan is dead. This. Murong Qingchen's expression changed. She didn't expect Sima Changhan to not make a move when Fang Huoyuan died. Her eyes couldn't help but look at the place where Sima Changhan was just now. HMM. Sima Changhan is gone. Murong Qingchen frowned slightly. At this moment, Su Chen also noticed the disappearance of Sima Changhan. Looking at the place where Sima Changhan disappeared, he said, Sima Changhan should go to the sword tomb. I wonder what his plan is? Although he had a good relationship with Sima Changhan, Su Chen always felt that Sima Changhan was a more scheming person. Perhaps his goal is not Fang Huoyuan at all. Fang Huoyuan is the successor of the Eternal Life Society. If Sima Changhan captures him, he will have to face the Eternal Life Society. Even if he is very strong, he cannot stop the Eternal Life Society from attacking. So his target may not have been Fang Huoyuan at first. The people from the Sword Tomb followed Fang Huoyuan. They should know the information of the Eternal Life Society. If they are captured, they should be able to find the address of the Eternal Life Society, and then his mission will be completed. At this time, Murong Qingchen thought of something and said, awesome. Su Chen could only say this. He looked at the square. The next battle was the most thrilling one. As for the Sword Tomb, someone has already gone there, and he will know what happened there. On the square, Lu Wujian looked at Ren Kaiangxing. The four long swords in your hands also have cracks. Although you can still make a strike, the power is limited, and the strength in your body has also been consumed a lot. Do you still want to fight me? Lu Wujian said in a very calm tone. They are just trash. My goal is always you, the sword master. Ren Kaiangxing looked at Lu Wujian and said, in that case, I will send you off with one sword. Lu Wujian's tone became cold when he heard Ren Kaiangxing's words. Chapter 814. 10,000 swords return to one. One sword separates worlds, breaks the heaven gate, enters the heaven gate. The sword energy around him changed. The divine power on his body burst out, and a huge sword shadow appeared behind him. Today I will kill you, and break the gate of heaven. Lu Wujian's voice became low. The terrifying sword energy rushed into the sky, and the aura on his body began to change. As the aura on his body changed, the sky began to thunder and lightning, and then a shadow of the gate of heaven appeared. Four element sword intent, cover the sky. When the gate of heaven appeared, four sword intents that rushed to the sky appeared in the hall of the Holy Sword Lake, covering the void. The gate of heaven that appeared seemed to have lost its target for a while. Staying in the void, it was just accumulating strength to achieve a thunderous strike. This is the four element sword intent that I created as the first generation of sword master of the Holy Sword Lake. It can temporarily cover the perception of the gate of heaven, allowing us to use the strongest power, cut the gate of heaven with one sword and leave here. I didn't expect to use it on you today. Ren Kaiangxing, you should be proud of it. My body is my sword. One sword opens the gate of heaven. Lu Wujian's power was fully deployed, surpassing the level of concentration in the sea. These powers did not spread, but condensed on him. Under this force, Lu Wu's sword transformed into a giant sword. His figure also jumped into the sky, under the heavenly gate. For a moment, the terrifying sword energy raged in the sky. The sky was originally dim. A dazzling sword light appeared between heaven and earth. How can you resist my sword without a long sword? Lu Wu's sword looked at Ren Qianxing like the master of the sword. When he spoke, the heavenly gate in the void fluctuated, and a force appeared faintly, converging with the giant sword. For a moment, a force of oppression appeared between heaven and earth. This pressure was concentrated on Ren Qianxing. Ren Qianxing's eyes emitted a fiery light, and his body was filled with fighting spirit. Very good, you covered the heavenly gate, which just happened to allow me to burst out with all my strength. While Ren Qianxing was speaking, his aura burst out, and the power that burst out was no weaker than that of the sword master. You have also reached this level. Seeing the changes in Ren Qianxing, the giant sword Lu Wu sword looked condensed. Sword slash. One sword breaks the gate of heaven. Seeing this situation, the sword master Lu Wujian slashed out with a sword. The thick sword energy turned into white light, tearing through everything, and coming towards Ren Qianxing to kill. At this moment, the light of this sword obscured everything. Even the gate of heaven seemed to be affected. The sword light covered the sky and the earth, and the power was terrifying. Sword returns to 1. At this moment, Ren Qianxing shouted in a low voice. With his low voice, the long swords in the hands of the warriors not far away from him seemed to be pulled out of their control, and all rushed in front of Ren Qianxing. For a moment, hundreds of long swords appeared in Ren Qianxing's hands. One sword separates the world. Those hundreds of long swords gathered together, and instantly turned into a sword light and pierced through. The people watching the battle saw this scene. Their eyes were horrified. The sword of the sword master was extremely powerful, and cut through everything. But Ren Qianxing's sword that gathered countless long swords was even more terrifying, piercing through the void. Swish, the sword light pierced through the long sword. The sword body stopped, and turned into the figure of the sword master. Blood was seen at the corner of the sword master's mouth, and his breath was extremely unstable. Blood spurted out from his chest. Just now, he was pierced by Ren Qianxing's sword. There are moves for every sword. I miscalculated and failed to block your sword. But even if I die, I won't let you live. The sword master looked at Ren Qianxing and said, boom. The 4-element sky covering sword intent that originally enveloped the void instantly gathered towards the sword master. If I die, you die too. With the help of this power, the sword master's body went towards Ren Qianxing. At this moment, the power accumulated by Shanman in the void also burst out instantly, covering the two of them. For a moment, the world was dark, as if an endless terrifying power had descended. Use the power of Shanman to kill you. My sword, destroy. The huge sword light accompanied by the power of Shanman went towards Ren Qianxing. The world was dark, and the sword light descended. This power was even more terrifying than the power that had erupted from the heavenly gate before. The sword master was already doomed, but with the help of the 4-symbol sword intentions of the holy sword lake, he launched a final attack, intending to perish together with Ren Qianxing. How can I, Ren Qianxing, be killed? If the heaven wants to kill me, I will break the heaven. 10,000 swords return to 1. One sword separates the world. Under this heaven and earth, Ren Qianxing roared, and the countless long swords in the holy sword lake all soared into the air, gathered in front of him, and then turned into a terrifying sword light. It shot out in an instant. Suddenly, only this sword was seen between heaven and earth, and no other sword light penetrated the sword master's body, penetrated the huge energy that fell, and finally rushed to the heavenly gate. Boom. The sword master's body exploded, and the heavenly gate also exploded. Ren Qianxing's sword killed the sword master, and broke the heavenly gate. The heavenly gate was broken. A light and shadow appeared and enveloped Ren Qianxing. At this moment, Ren Qianxing had just exhausted all his power with a sword, and was enveloped by the light curtain. When the light curtain enveloped him, Ren Qianxing's body was lifted into the air, and he was pulled away by a force towards the light curtain. This is the broken heaven gate. Chen looked at this situation. His eyes moved slightly, and he wanted to use the power of the magician Pangban to smash this pulling force. At this time, Su Chen received a voice transmission from Ren Qianxing. Master, don't move. If the power of the Heaven Gate is broken, I will step on the Heaven Gate again. The power of the Heaven Gate will be more terrifying, and my power will be weakened. Master, I will enter the Heaven Gate first. Hearing Ren Qianxing's words, Su Chen frowned slightly, and then relaxed. Ren Qianxing's first step into the Heaven Gate can also help him find out the situation above the Heaven Gate. In the void, Ren Qianxing took a step. The light and shadow disappeared, and the sky immediately returned to normal. On the ground, everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that Ren Qianxing's last sword would kill the sword master who made his last attempt and break the Heaven Gate and leave. When everyone was surprised, Su Chen's figure turned into a residual shadow and appeared beside Fang Huaiyan. He collected the broken boxing gloves, long sword, inner armor and other things on his body. Then he appeared beside the sword master. He took out the half of Heavenly Holy Sword Codex from his arms. The other sword masters had nothing on them. Su Chen's movements were very fast. It was necessary to be quick to touch the corpse. At this moment, the others came back to their senses, but the things were already in Su Chen's hands. Let's go to the sword tomb. Su Chen sent a message to Mirren King Chen and others, and then his figure shot out and headed towards the Sword Heart Island of the Holy Sword Lake. When Su Chen's figure disappeared, the others reacted. The sword master was dead, and the Holy Sword Lake was finished. Ren Qianxing, who killed the sword master, left the potionman. In other words, there was no spoils of war. They rushed into the Holy Sword Lake. Maybe they could find the sword manual or treasure. For a moment, someone thought of something. Grab. Everyone rushed into the Holy Sword Lake. Now it was time to see who was quicker. Whoever grabs it will own it. For a moment, the entire Holy Sword Lake villa became chaotic. At this moment, Su Chen's robe covered the things in his hands, and then put them all into the ring. The figure did not stop at all. He walked on the water and headed towards Jiangxin Island. Continue 3 more chapters around 6 p.m. Chapter 815, Sword Heart Cleargrass, Lan Yuhao, Kanjun Mo. Jiangxin Island, a place Kanjun Mo looked at the figure in the sky, with some surprise in his brows. A figure appeared beside Kanjun Mo. It was the middle-aged man in black beside him. It's not the sword master Lu Wujian who stepped on the gate of heaven. It's that Ren Qianxing. It seems that Lu Wujian is in trouble, but I don't know what's the situation with Fang Huaiyan. The middle-aged man in black said. What is the specific location of the Jiangxin Tongming grass? Kanjun Mo said. We found it. It's in the valley around the sword tomb. I will take the young master there. Since we have found the location, let's go there. As long as we get the Jiangxin Tongming grass, our purpose will be achieved. What the Holy Sword Lake becomes has nothing to do with us. Kanjun Mo said yes. The middle-aged man in black took Kanjun Mo to Jiangxin Island. Soon, they came to a valley. Who is it? When they arrived, a sharp voice appeared. Then 2 sword-holding figures appeared. Bang, bang. It was just that these 2 figures had just appeared. The middle-aged man in black beside Kanjun Mo flew out and slapped his hands. The 2 figures flew backwards instantly. Blood spurted out of their mouths and they died. The 2 walked into the valley without stopping. In the center of the valley was a pool, and in the pool, there were 2 small grasses emitting sword energy. Sword Heart Tongming grass. Kanjun Mo saw the 2 small grasses, and showed joy on his face. He wanted to pick the Sword Heart Tongming grass. Kanjun Mo, no wonder you didn't use your full strength. It turns out that you were thinking about the Sword Heart Tongming grass here. At this time, several figures appeared behind Kanjun Mo. It was Lan Yuhao. Behind him were 4 maids in white clothes holding swords. Lan Yuhao, I didn't bother you, but you came to bother me. Kanjun Mo looked at Lan Yuhao and said, aren't you here to kill me? But you haven't made a move, so I don't know what your plan is. But since you won't make a move, I'll kill you first. Lan Yuhao looked at Kanjun Mo and said coldly, do you have the ability to kill me? Lan Yuhao, do you know why I didn't kill you? That's because I'm not ready to step into the heavenly gate and leave. So you've lived so long, but you don't want to live, so I'll send you off first. Kanjun Mo's eyes suddenly became fierce as he spoke. As soon as his feet stepped on the ground, his figure rushed out like a cannonball. His palms and claws grabbed out, and a strong force emerged from her palms, attacking Lan Yuhao. How dare you! Kai and Junmo made a move, and the four sword-wielding maids behind Lan Yuhao instantly flew out, with long swords in their hands, attacking Kai and Junmo. You are also worthy of attacking the young master. At the moment, when these four people drew their swords, the middle-aged man who followed Kai and Junmo shouted in a low voice, and a terrifying pressure swept towards the four people. You go deal with that old guy. Don't let him get the Jiangx and Tongming grass. I will meet Kai and Junmo. Lan Yuhao snorted coldly. Boom. As soon as the voice fell, his body moved and shot out violently. His palm clenched into a fist, and there was a terrifying energy on the fist. He was merciless and faced Kai and Junmo's palm at a very fast speed. The palm and fist collided. The two bodies staggered at the same time. Lan Yuhao, you surprised me a little. You only condensed a general divine power. You are so anxious to attack me. Kai and Junmo frowned and looked at Lan Yuhao, as if he was a little puzzled by the divine power that erupted from Lan Yuhao. Kai and Junmo, if it weren't for you, I might not have condensed such a general divine power, so I won't let you get the Jiangx and Tongming grass and condense a stronger divine power. Lan Yuhao looked at Kai and Junmo. Then I'll see what you can do to stop them. Just relying on the four of them? Or you? Kai and Junmo said coldly after the attack. As he spoke, his hair began to flutter, and waves of terrifying true energy continued to spread around. As the true energy around him spread, invisible blood-colored ripples burst out from his body. Lan Yuhao, if you want to die, then today I will let you die in this holy sword lake. As the blood-colored ripples changed, the true energy emitted actually shook off the divine pressure on Lan Yuhao. Blood soul power. Kai and Junmo, your blood power is not the sword blood of the Kyan family, but the blood soul power. I'm really surprised. It seems that you want the sword heart Tongming grass, not to use it to condense a stronger divine power, but to use the sword heart Tongming grass to activate your sword blood. You are not a direct descendant of the Kyan family. Lan Yuhao saw this and said with a startled look, because I'm not a direct descendant, I was sent down to hunt you down. If I kill you, the head of the family will allow me to join the direct lineage. Kai and Junmo's eyes were filled with cold light. He took a step forward. Blood-colored ripples and true energy burst out at the same time. He stomped his foot on the ground, causing the ground to tremble, and his body shot towards Lan Yuhao. He punched out. The blood-colored ripples and true energy on his fist gathered and burst out. The fierce energy attacked Lan Yuhao fiercely like a sharp spear. Lan Yuhao's divine power burst out. A golden shadow appeared behind him, and the shadow showed golden light. The golden light formed a bloody shadow of the moon. Divine power, Xiangsu Duayu. The divine power burst out in full force, and his foot stepped on the ground, and his body shot out. Golden wheel, Xianayu. Boom. The fist burst out. A golden wheel whistled out from his fist. It touched Kai and Junmo's fist. Boom. The two forces exploded. The golden wheel and the blood-colored true ki disappeared at the same time, but Lan Yuhao was shocked and retreated several steps. Lan Yuhao, your bloodline is locked, and you can't use it. You should live a little longer, if you can survive. Kai and Junmo said sarcastically. However, although he mocked Lan Yuhao, Kai and Junmo's expression did not relax at all. Lan Yuhao was a direct descendant of the Lan family. Even if his bloodline was locked, he still couldn't be careless. Kai and Junmo, do you think it's so easy to join the direct descendant of the Kyan family? Even if you kill me and return to Xianmen, you still can't become a direct descendant. You are dreaming. What's more, even if you become a direct descendant of the Kyan family, you will still die. My father can't do it, but my sister can still kill you. In the end, you are just an abandoned child. Kai and Junmo, I know you haven't attacked me all this time, just weighing these. Lan Yuhao said coldly. Looking for death. Kill. Kai and Junmo jumped up again and killed Lan Yuhao. At this moment, two figures also appeared here. They were Liu Shengyaji and Zhu Yiren. The purpose of their coming here was also Jiangx and Tongming grass. I didn't expect someone to come before us, but now we are fighting. Brother Zhu, go get Jiangx and Tongming grass first. Liu Shengyaji said. Zhu Yiren jumped towards the Jiangx and Tongming grass. Looking for death. The middle-aged man in black who was fighting with the four maids saw this. His face changed, and he repelled the four maids with a palm, and was about to grab Zhu Yiren. But suddenly a sharp sword energy locked him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 816, Qianlong Cutting Pulse, 8 Divisions of Qianlong Bloodline, Character Valley Divine Power. The palm that he stretched out was startled, and his eyes looked at the person who locked him. King Long Hu Yajiu Yijian. Seeing Yajiu Yijian, the middle-aged man was startled. During this time of startle, the four maids quickly gathered together. Sword formation. 4 sword ki burst out from the 4 of them. The 4 sword ki gathered together to form a triangular sword formation, covering the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was startled. Divine power. Black nether dragon break. Boom. The momentum on his body burst out, and his palm stretched out, showing the shape of a dragon claw, attacking the sword light. At the moment, when the sword light and the dragon claw collided, the middle-aged man went towards the direction of the pool. Just a sword light was like a black line, slashing in an instant. The middle-aged man's heart jumped, and his body moved. At the moment he moved, Zhu Yiren had already arrived at the pool, raised his palm, and grabbed it. 2 giants and Tongming grasses were caught in his hand. Bang! At this time, Lan Yuhao was repelled by Kan Junmo's palm. Retreat! Lan Yuhao shouted in a low voice, and the 4 maids appeared beside Lan Yuhao. The people of King Longhu have already obtained Jiangx and Tongming grass, so he doesn't need to fight anymore. Standing aside and looking at Kan Junmo. You two, can you leave the Jiangx and Tongming grass? Lan Yuhao looked at Liu Sheng Yijian and Zhu Yiren and said, it's not reasonable to take out what you got. What do you think, brother Kan? At this time, Su Chen appeared and looked at Kan Junmo. Su Chen had a smile on his face at this moment. Just now, when he touched the bodies of Fang Huoyuan and Lu Wujian, he got 3 orange lottery cards. It is estimated that, if those weapons were damaged, he would get more. Young Master Su. Seeing Su Chen appear, Kan Junmo's eyes condensed. If Su Chen appeared, the masters of King Longhu must have gathered here. He had no chance of winning. Young Dragon Chief Liu Sheng Yijian and Zhu Yiren saluted Su Chen and appeared beside him. Young Dragon Chief Su, Jiangx in Tongming grass is very useful to me. I wonder if you can spare one of them. Kan Junmo looked at Su Chen and said, if you pay me accordingly, I can give you one of them. Su Chen glanced at Kan Junmo and said after thinking for a moment. Su Chen heard their conversation just now. One of them should be from the Lan family and the other from the Kan family. Lan Yuhao should be a direct descendant of the Lan family. He probably did something to the Kan family, which forced him to lock his bloodline. The Kan family sent Kan Junmo to kill Lan Yuhao and promised him that he would become a direct descendant of the Kan family if he succeeded. It was just as Lan Yuhao said. If the Kan family could kill Lan Yuhao, they would have killed him long ago. Why did they send him here? But these had nothing to do with Su Chen. What he wanted now was to get treasures and rewards. Hearing Su Chen's words, Kan Junmo pondered. Young Master Su, I can trade with you. I can give you a top level weapon level sword in exchange for this Jiangx and Tongming grass. Lan Yuhao spoke at this time. He spoke of a top level weapon level sword. Hearing Lan Yuhao's words, Kan Junmo's expression condensed. Young Master Su, I have an ancient book that I got on Xianmen. I don't know the content of the ancient book, but it should be extraordinary. I will use this ancient book to exchange for that Jiangx and Tongming grass with you. Kan Junmo spoke. While Kan Junmo was speaking, he took out a yellowed ancient book from his arms. He threw it directly at Su Chen. Su Chen grabbed the ancient book, then opened it, and flipped through it. The handwriting inside was something Su Chen had never seen before, and he only saw runes. Obtain the ancient secret technique, Qianlong pulse cutting technique, and reward 4 orange lottery cards. It's just a name, but it doesn't specify the practice of this Qianlong pulse cutting technique. What is this text? Su Chen frowned slightly and looked at Kan Junmo. I have checked the classics. This is the Xianlang Qiangxiang text of the ancient 8 divisions Xianlang Palace, but I can't find anyone who knows this text. This secret book cannot be copied. Su Xiaolan Xiao, don't worry about me copying it. Qian Junmo looked at Su Chen and said, very good. I will trade with you. Although Su Chen couldn't understand this Xianlang Qiangxiang text, but hearing the name, and letting him get 4 orange lottery cards, it can be seen that it is extraordinary. While speaking, Zhu Yiren handed the Jiangxin Tongming grass to Su Chen. Jiangxin Tongming grass, reward 1 orange lottery card. When Su Chen touched the Jiangxin Tongming grass, he got 1 orange lottery card, 5 orange lottery cards at once. Plus the 3 he got before, he got 8 orange lottery cards today, and shot the Jiangxin Tongming grass in his hand. Qian Junmo grabbed the Jiangxin Tongming grass, and showed a happy expression on his face. This time he made the right bet. I had learned about Su Chen before, and knew that Su Chen liked ancient books. As expected, although the ancient book was not simple, he could not know its content, and it was useless to keep it. At this moment, Su Chen's heart moved. I had good luck today. First draw 4 orange lottery cards. Get the practice method of Xianlang pulse cutting technique. Get 10 bottles of Xianrendan. Get the character Chu Jiangnan. Get the character Gu Shentang. 2 characters. Just got the Xianlang pulse cutting technique. Elixir. Su Chen looked at the reward and his heart moved slightly. Elixir. Except for some of the elixir he left for practice, the others had been sent to Shanman by Yuan Suan one after another, and distributed uniformly by Zhu Zhengwo. Xianren elixir is also useful for the C concentration strongman, so Su Chen still lacks elixir. Xianlang pulse cutting technique. Su Chen clicked it. In an instant, a method of practicing Xianlang pulse cutting technique appeared in his mind. Su Chen was shocked when he got this practice method, because this Xianlang pulse cutting intercepts luck and momentum. He intercepted a land, a country, a sect, and condensed himself to form the blood of the 8 dragons. When the blood is cultivated to the extreme, it can pull up mountains and rivers, and destroy the world. So domineering. Su Chen sighed in his heart. Is this because he can't rely on his own strength? With his summoning characters and occupying turf, he can completely obtain these lucks, and condense the blood of the 8 dragons. As for the character Chu Jiangnan, the son of Duan Muqian, sword drawing Jianghu, he was sent to Qin Beichuan by his father at the age of 7 with the mission of seizing the 7-star tower, and became his confidant. He looks elegant, gentle, and handsome, but in fact he is meticulous and ambitious. He was used by Liu Shengyijian as a chess piece to force Bai Yun to become Yan Bifei, and was finally killed by Bai Yun. Su Chen looked at the opponent's strength, and found that his strength was at the level of Dunshan Huahei. He is stronger than Liu Shengyijian who appeared before, and can become one of the 12 Hall Masters of King Lanhu. Gu Shentang is the biological father of Gu Zhen, one of the twin protagonists in Feng Zhe's novel Kang He. He is the king of Dongdao, and practices the Heavenly Sun's key watching technique, which makes him almost invincible. There is a saying that as long as Gu Shentang is alive, Dongdao will not perish. This means that Gu Shentang has reached the realm of invincibility, which actually means that as long as Gu Shentang is alive, Dongdao will not perish. Strength, broken level. Chapter 817. The tragic sword takes in. The sword keeper cuts the sword with his life. Su Chen was shocked. Just as Ren Qiangxing, who was broken, left, another one came. Qian Junmo and Lan Yuhao, these two were quite European. He was thinking about who would take over the Holy Sword Lake. Now he has one. He will take over Ren Qiangxing, become the deputy leader of the West Pavilion, and occupy the Holy Sword Lake. It is impossible to give up the things that have been taken to others. Young Master Su, goodbye, see you later. Qian Junmo left with his men. After Qian Junmo left, Lan Yuhao stepped forward and said, Brother Su, you didn't even bid, but just agreed to Qian Junmo's stuff? Xianlang Qiangxianglan was lost a long time ago. It doesn't matter, I like special ancient books. Besides, Qian Junmo doesn't want to kill you at all. Of course, killing you is not a certainty. Why not let him improve? Is it so easy to become a direct descendant of a noble family? I'm going to the sword tomb. Lan Yuhao, will you come with me? Su Chen looked at Lan Yuhao and said, "Of course I'll go together." Lan Yuhao said, "At this moment, Jiangxin Island, a building outside the Sword Tomb. This building is the library of Holy Sword Lake. In front of the library, Jiang Taixin led his men to confront the four people opposite. The four people opposite were the four men under Fang Huayan, led by a grey-robed old man with a weak breath and a deep sword scar on his chest. The sword scar was so deep that the bone was visible, and his eyes were staring at a figure sitting outside the library with a sinister look. In front of this figure was a very ordinary long sword. Although it was very ordinary, it was inserted there like a sky-supporting sword. The sword marks on the body of the sluggish grey-robed old man seemed to belong to the other party. At this moment, their eyes were also fixed on the void. The atmosphere was depressing. That was Ren Qianxing's figure just now. Seeing this situation, an elder beside Jiang Taixin said solemnly, "Swordmaster." Ren Qianxing stepped into the heavenly gate and left. "I'm afraid that Lu Jianzu is in danger." Jiang Taixin also looked at the void, frowning. According to reason, it should be Swordmaster Lu Wujian who broke through the heavenly gate and left, but in the end it was Ren Qianxing who broke through the heavenly gate. What does this mean? It can only mean that Lu Jianzu is in trouble. Lu Jianzu is in trouble. Fang Huayan must be in trouble too. Why don't you go and see Fang Huayan? Jiang Taixin looked at the four people opposite and said. The other three looked at the old man. The old man's eyes also became gloomy. Whoosh. At this time, a figure rushed over. "Swordmaster, the old Swordmaster has fallen. Ren Qianxing has left through the heavenly gate." Fang Huayan and the four elders of the Chengsheng society all died at the hands of Ren Qianxing. Now my Shengjian Lake Villa is being attacked by many warriors. Please go back and take charge of the situation. The disciple reported. What? Hearing this, Jiang Taixin was stunned. He didn't expect this result. Everyone who attacked was killed by Ren Qianxing. Ren Qianxing left through the heavenly gate. Now Shengjian Lake Villa is still being attacked. This is impossible. How could the young master die? Hearing the words of the visitor, the old man with a dead aura was stunned. He is telling the truth. At this time, Sima Changhan, Lin Xiaoshan, and several men in black came out from the dark. Sima Changhan, I didn't expect you to come here. Looking at the figure that appeared, Jiang Taixin's eyes condensed. The people who appeared here now are not friends. Jiang Taixin, there will be no Holy Sword Lake after today. Submit to me, and I will leave you in charge of the Holy Sword Lake, Sima Changhan said, while looking at Jiang Taixin. In the Holy Sword Lake, the sword master he cared about has already fallen. Now is the time for him to take the Holy Sword Lake. Sima Changhan, I didn't expect you to have such ambitions. Wanting to occupy my Holy Sword Lake. Jiang Taixin looked at Sima Changhan with cold eyes. The Holy Sword Lake has become a leftover. Why can't I, Sima Changhan, occupy it? Sima Changhan said coldly. Humph. I didn't expect, Sima Changhan, that you actually have such ambitions. Everyone underestimates you. At this time, the old man in the grey robe snorted and said. I actually have to thank Fang Huayan for this matter. If it weren't for what he did in the early stage, I don't think the Holy Sword Lake would be in this situation now. Fang Huayan is dead, so you don't need me to go back. I just happen to have something to do with you. Sima Changhan looked at the grey-robed old man and said, let us go with you. Who do you think you are? The old man with a dead aura snorted coldly and said sternly to Sima Changhan. So you're forcing me to do it? Sima Changhan said to the old man with a dead aura. His tone was cold. Now he didn't take the people here seriously. The momentum on his body surged, and the terrifying power pressed towards everyone. Sima Changhan, you underestimate me. Jiang Taixin. Today, I, Jiang Taixin, will kill you. Jiang Taixin looked at Sima Changhan with cold eyes. Kill me, I really want to see your strength. Sima Changhan's eyes were cold. Swordmaster is coming. Jiang Taixin shouted, but before he finished his words, behind him, the last of the 5 remaining elders slapped Jiang Taixin's back with a palm. Bang! Jiang Taixin was shocked by this blow and flew backwards. Boom. Then the sword light flashed. Several people from the Holy Sword Lake around the elder all had their throats cut by a sword. Greetings, sir. The elder put away his sword and knelt before Sima Changhan. While he was kneeling, the old man sitting cross-legged in front of the library opened his eyes and a flash of sword light flashed. Sima Changhan, what a good trick. I arranged it in my holy sword lake a long time ago. The old man looked at Sima Changhan and said. While speaking, he raised his palm and sucked Giant Aixin's body over. Uncle, Giant Aixin, who was spitting blood, looked at the old man and said. The tendons and veins are broken. It's hard to recover. If it's normal, there's nothing wrong, but I'm afraid you can't get out of here today. There can't be any shame in my giant family. Uncle, I'll send you off. After checking, his expression became lonely, and a sword energy burst out from his palm. Giant Aixin was stunned, and his eyes were unwilling. He was ambushed, before he could show his skills, and was finally killed by his uncle. What a cruel trick. Seeing this scene, Sima Changhan's eyes condensed. A fearful look appeared in his eyes towards the old man. I didn't expect that today would be the day when my holy sword lake disappears, but I really want to see how strong you, Sima Changhan, are. The old man stood up. The long sword in front of him began to tremble. I'm Jian Kaniyang, the guardian of the holy sword lake. Today, one sword will decide the outcome. As the old man spoke, a terrifying sword intent burst out from his body. The sword intent emerged. He raised the long sword in his hand. Divine power, the setting sun is like blood. A blood-colored after image appeared behind him, and suddenly a touch of red appeared in the darkness between heaven and earth. The setting sun blood sword, the sword will slaughter the world. Jian Kaniyang shouted in a low voice. As he shouted in a low voice, a huge sword light burst out from the raised long sword. The sword light was blood-colored, exuding an extremely amazing sharpness, the power to tear the sky apart, and slash down angrily. This sword, the sword light was like a tide, full of murderous aura, covering everything. At this moment, the life breath on the old man's body began to weaken. Use the last of his life to perform this sword. Chapter 818, Gu Shentang appears. Sima Changhan is defeated without fighting. Seeing this scene, Sima Changhan was startled, and his divine power suddenly rose. A huge black shadow emerged behind him. The black shadow shook the heaven and earth. Under this divine power, the sword power condensed by the old man actually felt like it was being shaken. That's it. Chen, who was rushing over, was shocked when he saw this scene. He didn't expect someone to burst out with such a terrifying divine power. Sima Changhan, that's Sima Changhan's divine power. Lang Yuhao, who was beside Chen, spoke. Sima Changhan. Chen's eyes condensed and looked at Sima Changhan. Kunpeng moves mountains and rivers. Sima Changhan shouted in a low voice, and in coordination with the divine power of beaming Yaokan, he slapped out a palm that moved mountains and rivers, and the palm method was majestic. The energy rose to the sky. A huge Kun shadow flew out from it. It collided with the falling galaxy sword light. The sword light shattered. The energy disappeared. The ground returned to calm. The sword family is the descendant of the second generation sword master of Holy Sword Lake. It is said that the second generation sword master defeated heroes all his life with a sword, and finally challenged the third generation emperor of the Great Chu Empire. After being defeated, he died under his own sword. Adhere to the belief that the swordsman is invincible. After a palm fell, Sima Changhan looked at the old man holding the sword and said, defeat means death. Your divine power is not simple, but it has not yet taken shape. If it takes shape, it may be able to break the gate of heaven with one palm. It's a pity that I can't fight you in your prime. Today, the winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Holy Sword Lake is not wrong to lose. Boom. The old man holding the sword fell to the ground, and his life disappeared. Sima Changhan, you are hiding deep enough. The remaining grey-robed old man looked at Sima Changhan and said, Fang Huoyuan is dead. I think you should make the right choice. Sima Changhan looked at the grey-robed old man and others and said, you. The grey-robed old man's eyes condensed. He looked at the three people behind him. At this moment, the three people's eyes were uncertain, and they didn't know how to choose at this moment. He also looked at the grey-robed old man. Although the three of them were quite strong, they were no match for Sima Changhan's palm. If they fought, they would probably be killed. We will be hunted down if we betray the Changsheng society, the grey-robed old man said. Don't worry, you will be sent to the capital and join our Xianjian division. I forgot that you said I am one of the 4 general envoys of Xianjian division in Jiangnan. Sima Changhan said. one of the 4 general envoys of Xianjian Division in Jiangnan. It is rumored that Xianjian Division has 4 general envoys, named Shan, Kan, Di, and me. Who are you? The grey-robed old man looked at Sima Changhan and said, I didn't expect you all to know this. My name is Me. Sima Changhan said, Me, I destroyed the Jiangnan Xiandao Jumi sect with my own strength. I really didn't expect it. It seems that you have seen through our plan a long time ago. It's not unfair that you lost. I promise to go with you and join Xianjian Division. The grey-robed old man said, You all. Greetings to the general envoy. The other 3 immediately knelt and saluted upon seeing this. Good. Very good. Xiaoshan, ask the elders. You take the 3 of them to take over the Holy Sword Lake, and you leave with me. Sima Changhan ordered Lin Xiaoshan and the last of the 5 elders, and he was ready to leave with the grey-robed man. He wanted to know the news of the Eternal Life Association from the grey-robed man. Yes. The 2 led people away, with one of the 5 elders coming forward. I believe that the Holy Sword Lake will be able to calm down as soon as possible. General Envoy Sima, your behavior is very inappropriate. At this time, a deep voice came out from the dark. The man who came was a man in his 40s wearing a wide robe, with eyebrows like flying swords, handsome and extraordinary appearance, and a domineering aura in his eyebrows. Seeing the man, Sima Changhan's face condensed. What do you mean? Do you also want this Holy Sword Lake? Sima Changhan said in a deep voice. At this time, Lin Xiaoshan and the others also paused. After Sima Changhan spoke, Lin Xiaoshan looked at the old man holding 2 blue beads in his hand. The old man was startled. His brows slightly frowned, but he did not hesitate. The blue beads in his hand flew out instantly, one after the other, towards the man who appeared. However, the man who appeared saw this. His sword eyebrows raised, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He flicked his sleeves, and a stream of energy swarmed out, setting off a whirlwind. He blocked the blue beads shot by the opponent, and formed a balance with the energy of the blue beads, so that the beads stayed in front of him in the air. Then he stretched out a hand from his sleeves. He had a resolute appearance, but his hands were white and slender, like a sheep fat jade carving, and he raised his hand. He appeared in front of the blue beads. You will pay a price for testing me, General Sima. This habit is not good. While speaking, a burst of energy burst out from his palm, and then his palm flicked, and the 2 blue beads instantly flew back. The speed was extremely fast. It also brought with it a terrifying ki force, and the ki force carried the blue bead like a meteor, heading towards the old man. The old man's face changed drastically. A terrifying ki force burst out from his body, and he raised his hand to grab his bead. Boom. His palm collided with the bead. He held the bead, but then a terrifying ki force burst out on the 2 beads. Bang. His arm holding the bead was directly shattered under the effect of this ki force, and the blood and flesh were blurred, and only the bones of the broken arm could be seen. Ah! The old man screamed. One blow, a simple blow, shattered the old man's arm. Who are you? Sima Changhan saw this, and his eyes turned cold. I'm the Deputy Pavilion Master of the West Pavilion of Xianaya Pavilion, Gu Shentang. The person who came was Su Chen, who had just obtained Gu Shentang. Although he had a good relationship with Sima Changhan, how could Holy Sword Lake be handed over to others? What's more, he wanted to intercept the pulse cutting technique he had just obtained from this Holy Sword Lake. Holy Sword Lake has a good historical background, and its luck should be extraordinary. General Envoy Sima, you don't think that only one person has come to my Xianaya Pavilion, West Pavilion? I don't know, General Envoy Sima. This Holy Sword Lake belongs to you, or to my Xianaya Pavilion, West Pavilion. Gu Shentang looked at Sima Changhan and said, You. Hearing Gu Shentang's words, Lin Xiaoshan's eyes condensed and wanted to speak. Holy Sword Lake, I have been planning for a long time, and I'm a little unwilling to give it up like this. Sima Changhan looked at Gu Shentang and said, Then let's have a fight. General Envoy Sima's divine power just now was very good. It's a pity that it's not complete. You have no chance of winning against me. Gu Shentang said calmly. Well, Sima Changhan didn't expect Gu Shentang to say so directly, that he was not his opponent. The momentum on his body rose, and the terrifying phantom reappeared. When he burst out with divine power, The aura on Gu Shentang's body also changed, and a terrifying aura appeared. When this aura appeared, Sima Changhan suddenly felt a chill in his heart. He seemed to be seen through. The blood in his body was rapidly constricted. This holy sword lake is in your hands. See you later. Let's go. After saying that, he turned around, grabbed the grey-robed old man, and jumped away. Seeing this, the other's eyes condensed and quickly followed. I didn't expect you didn't make a move. You are such a cautious person. I want to see the power of that move. Gu Shentang sighed as he watched Sima Changhan leave. Chapter 819. Gu Shentang breaks through. Fing Huaxu Ayu Tower, changes owner. This Sima Changhan actually left just like that. Looking at Sima Changhan who was leaving, Lang Yuhao who followed him looked a little surprised. Sima Changhan had just shown his divine power, which was very powerful. He should have been able to fight, but he retreated without fighting. He looked at Gu Shentang, the strong man from Xian'an Pavilion. I have never heard of this Xian'an Pavilion before. I have never heard of such a force above Xianman. Lang Yuhao said in a deep voice. This person from Sima Changhan is very cautious. He must have noticed something. Let's go. The Holy Sword Lake is occupied by the Xian'an Pavilion. We don't need to stay here. Su Chen glanced at Gu Shentang who was standing in front of the library. Lang Yuhao glanced at Gu Shentang and followed Su Chen to leave. This seat, Gu Shentang, the Deputy Pavilion Master of Xian'an Pavilion, Jiangxin Island belongs to my Xian'an Pavilion, West Pavilion today. No one is allowed to stay. Stay on Jiangxin Island for half an incense stick of time and kill them one by one. When Su Chen and the others returned, a deep voice rang out throughout Jiangxin Island. Some people who were about to rush into Jiangxin Island heard this voice. Their expressions changed, and then they saw Lin Ziaoshan and his group quickly withdrawing from the island. They stopped and turned to leave. Everyone knows the strength of Xian'an Pavilion, Ren Qiangxing. Now that there is a deputy pavilion master, it is better not to risk entering Jiangxin Island. The people who came retreated quickly. The warriors in the rivers and lakes like to fight desperately, but when facing great terror, they still put their lives first. Shangjian Lake Villa was destroyed. The remaining disciples of Shangjian Lake also fled. In just one day, the entire Shangjian Lake was destroyed from the dominant force in the blink of an eye. The martial arts forces perished so quickly. In the end, Su Chen returned with Zuangji and others. Murong Qingchen had already left and went to see Sima Changhan. Luo Han Qiu, who was with him, also said goodbye to Su Chen and returned to Taishang Wu Jimen. Inside the house, I originally wanted to observe the sword tomb in the Holy Sword Lake, but I didn't expect that I couldn't see it. Mei Zuanshang sighed. The purpose of her coming here was to observe the sword art in the sword tomb, and to learn by analogy, to increase her own sound practice. The host's subordinate summoned the character Gu Shentang and successfully entered the broken level, and was rewarded with one orange lottery card. At this time, Su Chen received a prompt. Gu Shentang entered the broken level. It seems that the last battle in Kunlun helped Gu Shentang a lot. He entered the broken level so quickly, and his aptitude is really extraordinary. Su Chen thought to himself. At this time, Yuan Suan walked into the room. Seeing this, Zuangji and Mei Zuanshang nodded to Su Chen and left first. Master, Liu Qingchao came secretly and wanted to see the master. I have arranged for her to stay in a guest room. Yuan Suan said. It seems that she is here for the matter of one mansion. Who in Jiangnan, King Lang Hu, took the task of killing one Xiangsu? Su Chen asked. The one who took the task is Xiao Siwu. Yuan Suan said. Xiao Siwu, it shouldn't be difficult to kill one Xiangsu in secret. Su Chen said after hearing this. One Xiangsu's strength is at the Danshan Hua He level. Xiao Siwu should have no problem killing someone in secret. According to the itinerary, Xiao Siwu should have arrived in Yangqing now. Let's go see Liu Qingchao. Su Chen said. Then the two left the room. At this moment, in a room, Liu Qingchao, wearing a black cloak, was standing in the room. The cloak on his head was not taken off, covering his face. The door opened with a creak. Su Chen stepped in. Liu Qingchao took off the cloak, revealing a delicate and charming face. Meetings, young Master Su. Liu Qingchao bowed slightly to Su Chen. Master Liu, you came here in secret this time for one Xiangsu's matter. Please sit down. Su Chen came in and said, and asked Liu King Chao to sit down. Young Master Su, the matter at Holy Sword Lake is over. I have to return to Yangcheng, so I came here to consult. Liu King Chao said softly. Someone has already taken the task. I believe one Xiangsu will die soon. Su Chen said. When she heard Su Chen say that someone had already taken the task, Liu King Chao showed a hint of joy on her face. This time, she saw with her own eyes the strength of the masters of the Kinglan Club. She had heard about it before, but this time she saw it, and the effect was different. This is the 60% contract of Finghuaxuiu Tower. Today I give it to young Master Su. Liu King Chao took out a written contract from her bosom. She came here this time just to get close to Su Chen, so she had already written the contract and gave 60% of the rights and interests of Finghuaxuiu Tower to Su Chen. Give me 60% of the rights and interests. It seems that you want to break up with the one family. Su Chen glanced at the contract in front of him and said softly, I got the news that Wan Chunlin wants to take over my Finghuaxuiu building recently, so I can only do this. Otherwise, when I go back, Finghuaxuiu building will not be mine. If I hand over Finghuaxuiu building to young city lord Su, I can at least keep 40%, but if I give it to one mansion, I will not keep any. Liu King Chao said. Okay, I'll take this contract. Su Chen put the contract away. He was going to take over Finghuaxuiu building anyway, so how could he refuse it when the other party gave it to him? For future reconciliation matters, you can contact Zhuangji, and for other matters, you can contact Yuan General Manager. Su Chen said. Thank you, young Dragon Master Su, I won't stay here anymore. Liu King Chao bowed slightly and left. There are too many people paying attention to Su Chen now. She didn't want to let others know that she had contact with Su Chen for the time being. After sending Liu King Chao away, Su Chen returned to his room. It was already night, and the crescent moon appeared. Su Chen entered the house, changed into a nightgown, and left quickly. He was going to Holy Sword Lake to perform the Heavenly Dragon Pulse intercepting technique, to intercept the remaining luck of Holy Sword Lake. Although Su Chen did not know much about blood, Qian Junmo fought with Lan Yuhao today, and Qian Junmo showed the power of blood. Although the power of blood was not fully used, it was able to suppress Lan Yuhao who used divine power. And Lan Yuhao also had blood, but there was a problem. It can be seen that the power of blood is not simple. The Heavenly Dragon Pulse intercepting technique, the final practice, is the 8 Heavenly Dragons. It is to intercept all luck and momentum, and condensate Heavenly Dragons in one's own blood, to form the 8 Heavenly Dragon bloodline. Of course, if you want to condensate Heavenly Dragons, you need to steal a huge amount of luck. The figure disappeared quickly in the night like a shadow. Jiangxin Island when Su Chen stepped in again. At this moment, Jiangxin Island was already silent. The figure did not stop at all. Quickly came to the sword tomb in the center of Jiangxin Island. Outside the sword tomb, Gu Shentang's figure appeared. My lord, all the people on the island have been cleared. Gu Shentang stepped forward and saluted. I want to find a secluded valley to intercept the remaining luck of Jiangxin Island. You help me protect the law. Su Chen instructed Gu Shentang. There is a valley not far from here. It is quite remote. Gu Shentang said. Then he took Su Chen to a valley not far away. There is no one in the valley. I will help my lord protect the law outside the valley. Gu Shentang said. Okay. Su Chen nodded. Then he sat cross-legged in the valley. Chapter 820. Qian Long cuts off the meridians and intercepts the fortune of Holy Sword Lake. In the sky, a crescent moon hangs, and the moonlight covers the valley. Su Chen's palms perform the Qianlong Jimei technique, and his palms form seals. A stream of golden true ki emerges from his hands. These true ki turn into golden dragons. Bang! Su Chen's palms are printed on the ground. Those golden true ki dragons instantly flow into the ground. After entering the ground, these golden true ki dragons wander around. As the true ki continues to circulate, these golden dragons form a magic circle on the ground around him. The magic circle appears. Jiangxin Island shakes slightly. Then an invisible airflow seems to be pulled by the magic circle and quickly gathers towards the magic circle. Chen, who is sitting cross-legged in the middle of the magic circle, has a happy look on his face. An invisible force flows from the magic circle into his body. Sensing this airflow, Chen begins to operate the Xianlang Jimei technique to intercept these airflows in his body. As time goes by, Chen intercepts more and more of this airflow in his body. These intercepted airflows gradually condense into a golden light spot. The golden light spots that appeared began to absorb the intercepted airflow. The first step of Xianlang's meridian cutting technique is to condense the point. This golden light spot is the base point for condensing Xianlang. As these airflows were continuously absorbed by the golden light spots, Chen's body also made crackling sounds, and a faint golden luster appeared around his body. The luster was full of majesty and solemnity. The true energy in his body also circulated rapidly and gathered in his danshan. At this moment, the danshan, which had already reached the limit of capacity, seemed to be broken through the shackles and expanded again. Well, the danshan can be expanded again. A light flashed in Chen's eyes. He concentrated his mind and sensed the situation in the danshan. In this case, my danshan can at least double in size. Fortunately, I didn't think about condensing any divine power before, otherwise, I'm afraid there would be no such opportunity. Chen thought to himself. Suddenly, some golden light spots poured into the meridians in his body. These golden light spots pouring into the meridians are constantly tempering his body. Chen's body was already very strong, and the increase made his body even more terrifying. And these luck powers are still pouring into his body. Time passed by little. At this time, in another place, in Sima Changhan's manor, brother, Holy Sword Lake, was destroyed. But, Xianaya Pavilion, is here again, which is very disadvantageous to us. Xianaya Pavilion, is really bullying, Lin Xiaoshan said unwillingly. This world is a world, where the strong are respected. If you are not as good as others, you can only endure it. But, Xianaya Pavilion, appeared in Jiangnan at this time. I'm afraid what is it planning? Sima Changhan frowned, and said in a deep voice. Nowadays, the rivers and lakes are changing, and many forces have appeared. It's not surprising that, Xianaya Pavilion, appeared in Jiangnan. But brother, in fact, Xianaya Pavilion, also suffered a great loss this time. After all, Ren Qiangxing broke through the Xianmen and left, and they lost a strong man. Lin Xiaoshan said, we lost a strong man, but the appearance of Xianaya Pavilion in Jiangnan should not be so simple. Pay close attention to Gu Shentang's movements, and pay attention to those who go to Jiangxin Island. Sima Changhan ordered. General Envoy, His Highness Mireng has come down, and is in the hall. At this time, a servant came over and bowed. His Highness Mireng, come down, let's go and see His Highness. Sima Changhan led Lin Xiaoshan to the hall of the manor. Mireng Qingchen was sitting in the hall. Sima Changhan and Lin Xiaoshan walked into the hall and immediately saluted Mireng Qingchen. Meet the chief. Sima Changhan saluted Mireng Qingchen. Mireng Qingchen was the chief of the Xianjian division. Now that he has officially confirmed his identity, he calls Mireng Qingchen the chief. Did they tell me the address of Chang Shenghu? Mireng Qingchen asked. They said so, but it may be difficult to find it. Sima Changhan took out a map while speaking. The specific address of the Eternal Life Society is on an island in the East China Sea. But this island will move with the changes in ocean currents, and special positioning is required to find the address of the Eternal Life Society. But the general area should be within this range. Sima Changhan pointed to a place in the East China Sea. Then please ask General Envoy Sima to quickly pass this news to Old Master Zhu. I will take my people back to the capital later, but before returning to the capital, I want to meet the other 3 general envoys in Jiangnan. I wonder if General Envoy Sima can inform them. Mireng Qingchen said. The 4 general envoys do not interfere with each other. I don't know who they are, or where they are. If the master wants to summon them, they can issue a summons, and ask them to come and meet. But based on past situations, it may take more than half a month for the other general envoys to gather, which may delay the sending of the Eternal Life Society people to the capital. Sima Changhan said. Is that so? It's more important to send people to the capital first. Hearing this, Mireng Qingchen said. Although the general area is known, in order to avoid accidents, these people still do not need to be sent to the Xianjian division of the capital to ensure that what they said is correct. I wonder what General Envoy Sima thinks of the Qinglang Society? Qinglang Society? This organization is very strong. It has now become the #1 killer organization in Jiangnan. However, I think they are not just a killer organization. I'm afraid they have big plans. We need to pay attention to the Xianjian division. Sima Changhan said in a deep voice. What about Xian'an Pavilion? Mirren Qingshan then asked about Xian'an Pavilion. This force is even more terrifying, and there are no fewer strong people than Qinglang Society. This time, I originally took advantage of Ren Qiangxing's entry into the Heavenly Gate and no one else from Xian'an Pavilion came to take down Holy Sword Lake in one fell swoop, but another deputy pavilion master of the West Pavilion of Xian'an Pavilion appeared, named Gu Shentang. This person's strength is very terrifying, probably not worse than Ren Qiangxing. I have arranged people to keep an eye on Jiangxin Island and pay attention to Gu Shentang's actions. Sima Changhan said in a deep voice. Judging from the past behavior of Xian'an Pavilion, they may start to radiate the surrounding areas of Jiangnan with the Holy Sword Lake as a core. General Envoy Sima and Xian'an Pavilion are in the same place, which is a problem for General Envoy Sima. I wonder if the power gathered by General Envoy Sima can compete with the other party. Mirren Qingshan asked. The strength of Xian'an Pavilion, West Pavilion is unknown, and I can't guess it. Sima Changhan replied. Is that so? Then I'll trouble General Envoy Sima about the movements of Xian'an Pavilion. In order to avoid trouble, let them return to the capital today. Mirren Qingshan said. Okay. I'll make arrangements right away. Sima Changhan went down to make arrangements immediately. After a while, several figures left Sima Changhan's manor. Brother, why did His Highness Mirren talk to you so much? Lin Xiaoshan asked, after returning to the hall. She is testing me to see how much power I control, so that she can subdue me and use me for her own benefit. It seems that our Lord Mirren is unwilling to control the Xianjian division like this. Sima Changhan said in a deep voice. It's past 7 o'clock, and there are 3 more chapters. Chapter 821, Flying Knife Zhao Siwu, Wanjia Wang Xiang Su, Yangcheng. In a restaurant, Zhao Siwu was wearing a bamboo hat and sitting in a corner drinking wine. In a guest room on the 2nd floor of the restaurant, a young man in a brocade robe was standing at a window of the restaurant, looking at the bustling street outside the window. The young man was tall and slender, with a resolute face and jade-like eyes. He was standing there with a sense of coldness. He also exuded a faint aura. This person was Wan Xiangsu, the 3rd young master of the Wan Mansion. Who did Liu Qingchao meet, and what did she do in Luoyang City? Wan Xiangsu said to an old man in green standing behind him. 3rd young master, Liu Qingchao only attended the banquet of Marquis Lan Yu, and appeared at the Holy Sword Lake Conference. I haven't found her meeting with other people alone for the time being. The old man in green replied. She attended the banquet of Marquis Lan Yu. Marquis Lan Yu is not a simple person. Hearing the name of Marquis Lan Yu, Wan Xiangsu frowned slightly. Don't worry, 3rd young master. Marquis Lan Yu rarely asks about the affairs of the martial arts world, so he probably won't help her. The green-clothed old man replied. But this is not Liu Qingchao's style. When will she leave Luoyang City? Wan Xiangsu asked. According to the feedback from there, she has already left Luoyang City. I believe she will be able to return to Yangcheng in 3 or 4 days. The green-clothed old man replied. On the way back, I think it's better for her not to come back. Wan Xiangsu said. 3rd young master, you mean to let her stay in half a step, but if she doesn't come back, it will be difficult for Fenghuaxuayu Tower to change its ownership to our hands. After all, the eldest and 2nd young masters are also eyeing Fenghuaxuayu Tower. The green-clothed old man said in a deep voice. I said not to let her return to Yangcheng, but I didn't mean to kill her. I just wanted to capture her and control her in our hands. Liu Qingchao is a capable person, but he is a little ambitious. It's a bit of a foolish dream to want to completely control Fenghuaxuayu Tower. Wan Xiangsu said. I understand. I will arrange people when I go back, said the old man in green behind him. At this time, an waiter appeared outside the door with a basket. "Third young master, you want special vegetarian food? It's ready." Hearing this, the old man in green came to the waiter, took the basket, and handed a piece of silver in his hand to the waiter. The waiter immediately smiled, and bowed and retreated. "The things are ready, let's go." One Xiangsu turned around and said, "Third young master, please." The old man in green followed One Xiangsu and left. Downstairs, Xiaosu glanced at One Xiangsu coming down the stairs, and a light flashed in his eyes. A flying knife appeared in his hand. Before coming, he had read One Xiangsu's information, and knew that One Xiangsu would appear in this restaurant every 3 days, so he came here, waiting for the opportunity to kill him. The one mansion was heavily guarded. It would be difficult to kill him in the one mansion. This was his best chance to kill him. The other party was very talented, and his strength was in the danshan. So Xiaosu had to be steady. If he couldn't kill the other party with one move, then he might not be able to kill him this time. One Xiangsu moved quickly. In a short while, he appeared at the door of the inn. At this moment, outside the inn, the sun was shining. The moment he stepped into the door, the sunlight was a little dazzling. This was the opportunity. Xiaosu jumped out of the window and left the inn, and then the flying knife in his hand flew out instantly. When it climbed over the window, the knife light seemed to disappear under the sunlight. In the blink of an eye, it appeared at the opponent's throat. Boom. Just when the flying knife was about to pierce the opponent's throat, a divine power burst out from One Xiangsu. The appearance of this divine power affected the speed of the flying knife. In this short moment, the divine power disappeared. A terrifying energy burst out from One Xiangsu's side, completely covering him. Bang! The long knife collided with the energy. One Xiangsu was knocked back several steps. The energy bursting out from his body was shattered, and the flying knife fell to the ground. A drop of blood appeared on his throat. Looking for death, One Xiangsu touched his throat. His eyes became ferocious. If it weren't for the divine power left in his body by his father, he would not have been able to react, and would have been pierced through the throat by the opponent. Divine power. Xiaosu, who failed to hit the opponent, had a condensed look in his eyes. He didn't expect that the opponent would have a divine power. That divine power is not his own. It was left in his body by someone else. Otherwise, it would not be possible to just hinder the speed of my flying knife. Xiaosu was sure of it instantly. Kill. At this moment, the old man next to One Xiangsu drew a long knife from his waist and rushed out violently. The long knife in his hand instantly turned into a shadow, forming a knife aura, and enveloped Xiaosu. Xiaosu's eyes condensed. At this moment, he did not move, but the flying knife in his hand appeared again. It flew out instantly. It collided with the knife shadow. It emitted a wave of energy. At the moment when this wave of energy appeared, a flying knife instantly penetrated the energy and appeared in front of the old man. The old man's face changed, and the long knife in his hand turned over and slashed out with the knife, trying to block the flying knife. The long knife collided with the flying knife, making a clang sound, and a metal spark flew out. The old man narrowed his eyes slightly after letting the knife out. Swish. At this moment, another flying knife appeared and instantly pierced his throat. At this time, the guards beside One Xiangsu also drew their knives and attacked Xiaosu. It was just a meteor of knife light. There was an extra flying knife in the throat of those people. For a while, only Xiaosu and One Xiangsu were left on the field. You didn't kill me with one strike, and you didn't escape in time. Do you still want to kill me? One Xiangsu didn't care about the dead. Instead, he stared at Xiaosu with a sinister look. If I'm not mistaken, you should be from the Qinglang Society? I don't know what to call you. I'm Xiaosu from the Qinglang Society. Why did I leave? It's because with my strength, I can't kill you this time. If you hide in the one mansion, I won't find a chance to kill you, and then my mission will fail. So I must kill you today. Xiaosu said in a deep voice. The one mansion is the dominant force in Yangcheng, and there must be a strong man who can concentrate his mind in the sea. This time he couldn't kill One Xiangsu. Then there would be no chance to make another move. Without a chance to make a move, it means that his mission will fail, and only others can kill One Xiangsu. So he has to kill One Xiangsu today. While talking, a flying knife appeared in Xiao Siwu's hand. The energy and spirit on his body instantly focused on his flying knife. Recently, he has consulted Li Zunhuan for a long time. His flying knife ability has improved a lot. The opponent's divine power was just dispersed by his sword, and there would be no second divine power protection. He was confident that he could kill the opponent. Wan Xiangsu saw Xiao Siwu raising the flying knife in his hand. His eyes were fixed. Chapter 822, Ling Luoxi Alliance. The wind is cold. The 36 alien races will meet. Boom. A burst of energy appeared on his body. Kill me, then I want to see. When the energy appeared, Wan Xiangsu's body shape changed, turning into a ghost-like black shadow, and went towards Xiao Siwu at an extremely fast speed. He couldn't escape. Once he escaped, he would definitely be locked by the flying knife, which would be even more dangerous. Now he had no choice but to shorten the distance. Get close to Xiao Siwu, and then cover him with palm power and fist shadow, not giving him the chance to throw the flying knife. In that case, Xiao Siwu would die. Xiao Siwu's eyes condensed slightly. There was no trembling in his palm. You don't have the chance to throw the knife. You are the one who will die. In the blink of an eye, Wan Xiangsu's figure appeared. A fierce energy burst out from his palm, and he slapped Xiao Siwu's chest with one palm. This is the opportunity. Whoosh. Xiao Siwu stretched out his other hand. Between the two fingers of his palm was a flying knife, and the flying knife flew out instantly, facing the opponent. Swish. The sharp flying knife instantly passed through his heart, and Xiao Siwu's figure retreated behind him like a ghost. The speed was extremely fast. Wan Xiangsu's palm missed. It hit the ground. Bang. The gravel on the ground was flying. After the gravel, Wan Xiangsu covered his heart and looked at Xiao Siwu unwillingly. Your right hand flying knife appeared because I let my eyes focus on your right hand flying knife and ignore your left hand flying knife. From the beginning, your killer move was in your left hand. Wan Xiangsu looked at Xiao Siwu and said, yes, it's a pity that you didn't think of it just now. After Xiao Siwu finished speaking, he jumped into the house, and several figures jumped and disappeared in the eyes of everyone. Jiangnan Fengli City. 36 alien tribes. The Fengli tribe. The tribe leader Feng Hanli looked at Ling Luoxi in front of him with a slightly narrowed eye. Master Ling, you are so brave and skilled. You have wiped out the Xianzhen tribe and the Duan tribe, and you dare to come to my Fengli tribe to see me. Aren't you afraid that I will surround and kill you? Feng Hanli's voice was a little cold. Patriarch Feng, if you want to kill me, I won't be sitting here. Besides, what can I do if Patriarch Feng kills me? I'm only one of the 12 hall masters of the Qinglang Club. Ling Luoxi said calmly. Patriarch Ling is being modest. Then I will be frank. What does Master Ling want to do this time? Feng Hanli's face returned to normal, and he said softly. Patriarch Feng, since you said so, then I will tell you my purpose. This time, I came here to join forces with Patriarch Feng. The 36 alien tribes should not become tools of the Lai family. Patriarch Feng, as the second best of the 36 alien tribes, you should consider the 36 alien tribes. My Zengaiu Hall can join forces with Patriarch Feng to deal with the Lai family and the 36 alien tribes who have joined the Lai family. Ling Luoxi said. Hearing Ling Luoxi's words, Feng Hanli frowned slightly. Now the 36 alien tribes are in a panic. The Lai family has not made any statement for the time being, but as members of the 36 alien tribes, they know the strength of the Lai family. What's more, the Lai family has the 7th prince behind it, and behind the 7th prince there are many forces surrounding the Lai family. They will not let the Lai family get into trouble. So if something goes wrong, their Feng Lai tribe may be the first to be destroyed. Patriarch Feng, sometimes being indecisive will lose opportunities, and once opportunities are lost, they will be gone. Are you still afraid that the Lai family will have a chance? The Lai family has not only offended my Qinglang society, they are also fighting with the beggars sect. To be honest, if I didn't want to take over the Lai family and make further progress in the Qinglang society, I would have joined forces with other hall masters of the Qinglang society to attack the 36 alien tribes. There is no need to cooperate with Patriarch Feng, and there is no need to contact the beggars sect. Ling Luoshi said in a deep voice. Hearing Ling Luoshi's words, Feng Hanle's expression changed. Now, the two hall masters of the Qinglang Club are Ling Luoshi and Yuan Shizangsen. The strength of these two people is at the level of C concentration. Ling Luoshi is also a top C concentration expert. Yuan Shizangsen was able to kill C concentration experts before he entered the C concentration, and now that he has entered the C concentration, his strength has improved. If the other hall masters are the same, if the 36 alien races do not gather together, they can only be destroyed one by one. It is estimated that Ling Luoshi is also afraid that the 36 alien races will gather together. That's why he is looking for me to cooperate. As long as the Lai family and his followers are destroyed, I believe that Chief Feng will become the leader of the 36 alien races. This is an opportunity. I will give Chief Feng a day to consider. If Chief Feng does not think clearly in one day, I will go to the beggar gang and invite some hall masters to come. At that time, it will be hard to say who to attack. Ling Luoshi stood up while speaking. Okay, I will reply to Hall Master Ling within one day. I don't know how to contact Hall Master Ling. Feng Hanli looked at Ling Luoshi and said, within one day, the Feng clan leader will send someone to hang a red lantern at the city gate to agree. If there is no red light, it means that you do not agree to cooperate. Goodbye first. After saying that, Ling Luoshi stood up, put on his bamboo hat, and turned to leave. Feng Hanli waved his hand. The housekeeper beside him immediately sent Ling Luoshi away. After Ling Luoshi and the housekeeper left, a figure walked out from the back of the hall. Father, this is an opportunity. Why don't you agree to Ling Luoshi right now? The figure walked out, wearing a purple robe, handsome, with a fierce look in his eyes. The Lai family is not so easy to deal with. If it is easy to deal with, it would not be the Lai family that is the leader of the 36 alien races. Feng Hanli said in a deep voice. Your father, you mean that you don't agree to cooperate? Hearing this, the purple-robed young man said. Ling Luoshi's meaning just now is very clear. If we don't cooperate, I'm afraid the next one will be my Fengli clan. I need to think about this matter carefully. Feng Hanli said in a deep voice. Report. At this time, a disciple walked in from outside. Report. Clan leader. The Lai family has issued a summons to the 36 alien clans, ordering you to immediately go to the ancestral land of the 36 alien clans and discuss how to deal with the Qinglang society in 3 days. If you don't go, you will be treated as a traitor to the 36 alien clans. The disciple reported. What? Let father go to the ancestral land now. Hearing the report from the visitor, the purple-robed young man's face changed, and he said in a lost voice. Father, what does Lai Zhenbei want to do? Gather the clan leaders of the 36 alien clans to discuss now. If the Qinglang society takes action, won't it only be exterminated? The purple-robed young man said in a deep voice. I know, you go down first. Feng Hanli waved his hand. He turned to the purple-robed young man and said, his idea is very simple. He wants to use other tribes to protect their Lai family. Judging from the time and frequency of the Qinglang society's actions now, they can destroy at most 2 more tribes in a short period of time. During this period of time, we should be able to discuss how to deal with the Qinglang society. Feng Hanli said in a deep voice. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 823, Fierce Ling Luoshi. The 36 alien races are going to be wiped out. But Ling Luoshi just said very clearly that, if we don't cooperate with them, they will go after our Fengli clan next. Once that happens, our Fengli clan won't be able to stop the other side's attack at all. The purple-robed young man said this, and the atmosphere suddenly became solemn. Go. Chase Hall Master Ling back. We have no choice now. There are wolves in front and tigers behind. We can only cooperate with them. If we don't cooperate, our Fengli clan will be exterminated next. Feng Hanli said. Yes. The purple-robed young man took the order and immediately went to chase Ling Luoshi. After a while, Ling Luoshi, who had not yet left the gate of Feng Mansion, returned to the hall again. Hall Masterling, I promise to cooperate with you. Lai Zhenbi has convened a meeting of my 36 alien clan leaders in 3 days to discuss how to deal with the Qinglang society. I think this is an opportunity to get rid of Lai Zhenbi. I don't know if Hall Masterling has the confidence to seize this opportunity. Feng Hanli looked at Ling Luoxi and said, convene a meeting of the 36 alien races. This is indeed an opportunity, but it seems that we need to borrow some experts. I will contact the Dragon Head and the Hall Master of the Qinglang Society to help us when the time comes. As for the Jiangnan Beggars sect, I don't know whether it is the Feng clan leader who will contact them or me. Ling Luoxi looked at Feng Hanli and said, the Beggars sect is now fighting with the Lai family. It is not appropriate for our Fengli clan to intervene. It is better for Hall Masterling to go to the Beggars sect. The ancestral land of the 36 alien races is in Xianxin City. They will gather in 3 days. Feng Hanli clasped his fists and said, okay, without further ado, I will leave immediately to go to the Beggars sect and meet with the leader Cairo. Discuss how to deal with Lai Zhenbi. 3 days later, we will meet in Xianxin City and kill Lai Zhenbi together. Ling Luoxi clasped his fists, turned around and left quickly. Pack up. Hide outside Fengli City. After Ling Luoxi left, Feng Hanli said to the purple-robed young man beside him, hide, father, we have already cooperated with Ling Luoxi. Why do we still have to hide? Can't the people of Qinglang kill Lai Zhenbi? They are so powerful, I think Lai Zhenbi can't escape death. The purple-robed young man asked puzzledly. Until the last minute, anything can happen. So you'd better hide first. Feng Hanli said. But father, I want to go to the ancestral land with you. This is a grand event. The purple-robed young man said. Grand event? The battle in the ancestral land is not a grand event. You see that we are cooperating with Qinglang to deal with Lai Zhenbi. But at that time, it is possible that the Lai family is plotting against Qinglang so you can't go. You must leave the city and hide first. Feng Hanli said in a deep voice. Father, what you mean is that this meeting may be a plot of the Lai family. Yes, there are too many 36 alien tribes, and now is a time when people are in panic. It is normal for someone to betray the 36 alien tribes and join Ling Luoxi. It is also normal for the Lai family to use this to plot against the Qinglang society. So when the time comes, I may change my position as the wind changes, so it will be dangerous for you to go. It's okay for me to die, but you can't die. Feng Hanli said. At this moment, outside the Feng mansion, Ling Luoxi stepped onto the carriage. When Zuan was inside the carriage, the leader of the 36 alien tribes in 3 days, Feng Hanli has agreed to our cooperation. You stay here. Once Feng Hanli leaves, notify me. We will kill into the Feng mansion and leave no one alive. Also pay attention to those who leave. As long as they leave, they will be killed. Ling Luoxi, said that after killing the 36 alien tribes, I will never let the 36 alien tribes exist. Ling Luoxi's tone was murderous. Hearing Ling Luoxi's words, when Zuan showed a cruel smile on his face. Ling Luoxi's murderous nature is much stronger than his. I will keep an eye on everyone in Feng Mansion. No one alive can leave. When Zuan jumped out of the carriage, the driver continued to move forward. Late at night, 2 figures appeared in Feng Mansion. They were the stewards of Feng Mansion. They got on a carriage that had been prepared long ago. Young clan leader, I will send you to a manor outside the city first. If my Fenglai clan is fine and has a smooth journey this time, you can return. The steward said to the purple-robed man. Uncle Feng, I think my father is going to regret cooperating with Ling Luoxi, said the purple-robed young man. It's not that I regret it. Now Ling Luoxi and Lai Zhenbi are forcing the clan leader. We have no choice. If we don't agree to cooperate with Ling Luoxi, once the clan leader leaves, the Qinglang society will attack our Fengli clan. Even if the clan leader is here, we may not be able to stop him, not to mention that the clan leader is not here. So the clan leader can only agree to cooperate with Ling Luoxi. But things are unpredictable. If Lai Zhenbi has a strong backup plan when the 36 alien clans meet this time, the clan leader will also choose Lai Zhenbi. Remember, as a clan leader, you must put the family first. said the old housekeeper. The carriage was very fast. After leaving the city, it appeared in a small manor. There are no servants in this manor. The young clan leader can practice here for a while. I will return to Feng Mansion first. After the old housekeeper sent the purple-robed young man off, he turned around and got on the carriage and returned to the city. Watching the carriage disappear, the purple-robed young man's eyes condensed and his expression was a little heavy. I didn't expect that the once glorious 36 alien clans would face such a dilemma. Turning around and stepping into the manor. Inside the manor, the purple-robed youth walked to the manor hall with the moonlight, prepared to light the lights in the hall. When he was about to light the lights, suddenly, the lights in the house lit up. Clan leader Feng Xiao, I'll light the lights for you. A figure was sitting in the hall, looking at the purple-robed youth with a cold look. Seeing this, the purple-robed youth's face changed, and a defensive posture appeared on his body. Who are you? He said in a stern voice. I'm Wen Zuan, the helmsman of the Qinglang Society. The person who came was Wen Zuan. He had been monitoring the movements of Feng Mansion. When clan leader Feng Xiao left Feng Mansion, he followed and entered the manor first. Wen Zuan, Qinglang Society, why are you here? Hearing Wen Zuan's words, the eyes of the Feng Xiao clan leader condensed. My father cooperated with Yaling Hall Master, he said. I know that clan leader Feng cooperated with Yaling Hall Master, but it seems to have nothing to do with my being here. I'm here to kill you. Wen Zuan said. Kill me. Our Fengli tribe has cooperated with you. Why are you attacking me? The purple-robed young man held his hands on his waist while speaking. There was a soft sword there. Why? Master Ling said that he would destroy the 36 tribes. How could he let you go? I must keep my word, and none of the 36 alien tribes will exist. Wen Zuan showed a murderous look at the corner of his mouth. Chapter 824. Six-fingered to the demon. Li Wuxi, Fang Yingkan, big explosion. You guys. Hearing Wen Zuan's words, the purple-robed young man's expression changed drastically. In that case, you die first. Holding the hilt of the sword in his hand, he shot out instantly, turning into a terrifying sword curtain that enveloped Wen Zuan. The violent sword light stung people's eyes. A whistling sound like a storm sounded in the house. But Wen Zuan sneered. At the moment when the sword curtain enveloped him, he raised his palm. The terrifying energy burst out from his palm, shattering the violent sword light. Then he slapped the body of the Feng Xiao clan leader. Bang! The whole body of the Feng Xiao clan was slapped and flew backwards. When he flew backwards, Wen Zuan followed him like a ghost, raised his palm. He grabbed the other's throat and pressed him to the ground with his body. Bang! The body hit the ground. The Feng Xiao clan leader wanted to scream, but he couldn't make a sound because his throat was grabbed. Your Fengli clan will come to see you soon. Crack. While speaking, Wen Zuan crushed the other person's throat. The face of the Feng Xiao clan leader was full of anger, horror, and unwillingness. He didn't expect that he would be like this. He hadn't even ventured into the martial arts world, but he was dead and alive. The martial arts world was even more cruel than he had imagined. Wen Zuan loosened his palm and threw the body of the Feng Xiao clan leader directly into the hall. Then he waved his palm, and the lights in the hall dissipated. Turning around and leaving, Feng Hanli would kill his way into Feng Mansion as soon as he left tomorrow. At this moment, in an inn in Luoyang City, Yang Yanlan and Mu Yuanping both looked gloomy. Brother Yang, King Xuan has been completely bewitched by Upiu and wants to take him back to the Zen Wu Taoist temple. This is not a good thing. He must not be allowed to go to the Zen Wu Taoist temple. Mu Yuanping said. Yes, he must not be allowed to go to the Zen Wu Taoist temple. But we haven't found a chance to do it. Yang Yanlan said in a deep voice. It's like this. Originally, King Xuan's trip to Holy Sword Lake was an opportunity, but Upiu was not interested in Holy Sword Lake. King Xuan actually accompanied Upiu and did not go to Holy Sword Lake. Brother Yang, you still have to think of a way. Mu Yuanping said. Now the two have become brothers in distress, so they work together to deal with Upiu. I heard that Elder Jiaju went to Lingjiang area to find Guan Yushanov, Xianaya Pavilion. Elder Jiaju has some friendship with my father. If we go to Lingjiang area, maybe we can use Elder Jiaju to force Upiu, who came from nowhere, away. Yang Yanlan said, after thinking for a moment. This is indeed a way. Mu Yuanping nodded. Let's go and find King Sun. The two stood up at the same time. At this moment, outside the inn, in a pavilion, Mu Kingsun was holding Upiu. Yulang. Tomorrow we will set off to return to the Zen Wu Taoist temple, and I will introduce you to my master. When the time comes, I will ask my master to give you a Taoist order, and then you can return to the heavenly gate with me. Mu Kingsun said softly. Her tone was gentle, not as cold as before. I don't need a Taoist order. When my strength improves, I should be able to cut off the heavenly gate with one sword. Upiu looked calm. The Taoist gate appeared on the Holy Sword Lake, and Upiu had sensed the power of the heavenly gate. He believed that, as long as his strength improved, he could cut it off. Yulang. There are many people who have cut off the heavenly gate, but it is more cruel on the heavenly gate than here. If you cut off the heavenly gate yourself, where you will appear is still uncertain. What's more, the suppression on the heavenly gate is stronger. After entering the heavenly gate, your strength will be suppressed, and it will take some time to adapt. However, the dangers on the heavenly gate are not only warriors, but also fierce beasts and demons. If we have a Taoist order, we can appear in the range of the Zen Wu temple, and we can directly join the Zen Wu temple. Mu Kingsun said. It's so cruel above Xianmen. Upiu was slightly startled. They really didn't know what was happening above Xianmen. Yes. There are many forces above Xianmen, dynasties, sects, demons, beasts, etc. Sometimes, this place is actually a paradise on earth. Mu Kingsun said, tell me about the situation above Xianmen. Upiu wanted to know more about the situation above Xianmen. I don't know much, I just know a little from some classics in Zen Wu Taoist temple. I asked my master, and my master said to tell me when I'm about to step into Xianmen. Mu Kingsun said. Junior Sister Mu. At this time, Yang Yanlin and Mu Yuanping walked over from a distance. Seeing Mu Kingsun holding Upiu, countless haze flashed in the depths of their eyes, but there was no sign of it on their faces. Seeing someone coming, Mu Kingsun showed displeasure on her face and let go of the hand holding Upiu. Is there anything that you two brothers need? Junior sister, Elder Jiaju is going down the mountain to the Lingjiang area to meet Guan Yushan. We can go to the Lingjiang area to meet Elder Jiaju, and then return to the Zen Wu Taoist temple together. Yang Yanlin said. Hearing this, Mu Kingsun's expression slightly condensed. Elder Jiaju went down the mountain this time to fight Guan Yushan. Guan Yushan's strength is extraordinary. We really have to go. Mu Kingsun nodded. Yulang, let's go to the Lingjiang area first, and then return to the Zen Wu Taoist temple. Mu Kingsun then looked at Upiu and said. Upiu nodded. Zen Wu Taoist temple is one of the holy places of Taoism, and he also wants to see it. Let's help the master to explore its strength first. Upiu thought to himself. Then let's set off. According to the itinerary, Elder Jiaju will soon arrive in the Lingjiang area. Yang Yanlin said. Okay. Pack up and let's leave. Mu Kingsun nodded, then helped Upiu pack up, and left the inn. Another place. Chen looked at the information sent back by Upiu. I didn't expect Mu Kingsun to take Upiu to Zen Wu Taoist temple so soon. This speed makes me speechless. Chen said sarcastically. But Mu Kingsun said that the world above Xianmen is more cruel. I'm afraid it's true, and from the situation, the human race may not have the advantage. I hope that Upiu can get more information after going to Zen Wu Taoist temple this time. It seems that Ren Kaiangxing will encounter many problems after entering Xianmen. I also need to improve my own strength. Chen suddenly felt a sense of urgency in his heart. Li Chenzhao, a subordinate of the host, used the blood of the emperor's tyrant body to step into the broken level and rewarded 1 orange lottery card. Now I have 6 orange lottery cards. Just draw them. Chen said in his heart. Draw directly. Host obtains the character 6-fingered Kin Demon King Zumi, obtains the character Li Wuxi, obtains the Heavenly Demon Kin, obtains the character Fang Yingkan, obtains 1 Jingu Sudan, and obtains the top level weapon level longsword exclusively owned by Zeman Chuksu. This. Chen was a little horrified when he saw this scene. He didn't expect that he was lucky this time. He drew so many characters at once, and also a long sword of Zeman Chuksu. Chapter 825, Group Attack, Kill, Go to the ancestral land of the 36 aliens. Check the character information immediately. Six-fingered kin demon King Zumi, a character in an Kuang's novel, Six-fingered kin demon, who practices the Cheyenne Long 8 sounds of Cheyenne Long sect. A person who has lived for revenge all his life. He owns the Cheyenne Long sect's Cheyenne Mokin. When he appears in the martial arts world, the news spreads that the Cheyenne Mokin appears, and the ugly people change color. The 8 sounds reappear, and the world changes drastically. One person and one kin slaughtered the entire martial arts world, and his strength was at the top of the sea. Character Li Wuxi, a character in Liu Kanyang's novel, Disciple of the Evil God. He was the master of all evil in the world in the past. Everyone in the martial arts world was terrified. He can be said to be the #1 master in Liu Kanyang's novels, and he has dominated the martial arts world for 2 decades. He wears red clothes and wanders around the world. He fights more than 70 masters of the martial arts world alone and kills them all. He can be said to be an absolute strongman, and his strength is at the broken level. Fang Yingkan, a character in Wenshu's, who is the hero, the actual leader of Yaoqiao group, one of the 6 great masters of the time. He practiced the 3 great magic skills of Yuan Shizangsan of Zizaman. After practicing the magic skills, he changed his name to Fang Shizhao. He wanted to replace the former leader of the world's largest gang Li Chenzhao, and become the most powerful underworld person in the world. Looking at this, Su Chen shook his head slightly in his heart. Fang Yingkan's strength is actually stronger than when Yuan Shizangsan appeared. Could it be that the disciple is worse than the master? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but think of Guan Qi. How could Guan Qi, the world's #1 madman, be weaker than them? According to the saying among heroes, Fang Yingkan and these people followed others to besiege Guan Qi, and they were definitely not as good as Guan Qi. Could it be that it was because Guan Qi, Guan Kuangren, died too tragically, that he was not promoted? Su Chen can only think so now. Recently, many masters of the broken level have come. Are they here to help me practice the Cheyenne Long Jimei technique? Su Chen thought to himself. Previously, he performed the Cheyenne Long Jimei technique on Jiangxin Island in Shengjian Lake. Su Chen's strength can be said to have doubled, and it further expanded his danshan. Recently, I don't have to think about what kind of divine power to gather. Now King Lan Club is dealing with the 36 alien races. Wang Zumu Cheyenne Makin can be said to be a group attack weapon, a big killer. Back then, Wang Zumi, 1 person and 1 kin, slaughtered the entire martial arts world, not just saying it, but doing it completely. One person's attack may cause the 36 alien races to suffer heavy losses. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but take a look at the Cheyenne Makin, which is a spiritual level top grade weapon. With this weapon, Wang Zuma's strength is terrifying. People with such a murderous personality should stay in King Lan Club and become the head of April Hall. Su Chen thought so. Li Wuxi's strength is a bit high, and it is a bit unreasonable to let him be the head of King Lan Club. But if the head of King Lan Club can achieve shattering, this appearance may have more explosive effect. Such a thought popped up in Su Chen's mind. The murderous evil god, the status of the 12 Hall Masters, instantly improved. But he can't be ranked 5th in the ranking. Such a person is either placed at the 1st place, or at the end. The first one has already appeared, so he will be placed in the position of the 12th Hall Master, representing the strongest combat power of the 12 Hall Masters. From the current situation, the combat power of the 12th Hall Master is vaguely higher than the 7 Dragon Heads. Fang Yingkan is needless to say, the Hall Master of the Mei Hall. Chu Jiangnan's strength is a bit weak. Su Chen sighed when he thought of this. Because Chu Jiangnan's strength is only the danshan into the sea, he piled up the pills for him and let him step into the sea to concentrate his mind as soon as possible. I was thinking of sending Zizaya Feng to the 36 alien tribes. Now that Li Wuxi has appeared, Zizaya Feng doesn't have to take action for the time being. Su Chen sighed. Finally, Su Chen looked at the marrow cleansing pill, which cleanses his own meridians and improves his cultivation qualifications. These pills Su Chen can't use for the time being, and they will be sent to Zhu Zhengwo for Zhu Zhengwo to distribute. It seems that intercepting the fortune can also improve my European emperor's power. Not bad. Su Chen said in his heart. Creak at this time, the door opened. Master, Yan Shizhen sent the falling god pearl that he got earlier. The one who walked in was Yuan Suan. It is said that the falling god pearl can help a warrior cultivate the second kind of divine power. A light flashed in Su Chen's eyes. He took a brocade box from Yuan Suan, opened it, and held the falling god pearl in his hand. Obtaining the falling god pearl can help a warrior cultivate the second kind of divine power. When the divine power is cultivated, it will secretly damage the foundation. Please use it with caution. You will be rewarded with one orange lottery card. When Su Chen held the falling god pearl, a prompt appeared, saying not to use it. This falling god pearl is a useless thing. Originally, he was looking forward to Su Chen, but when he saw this prompt, his face was stunned. This falling god pearl damages the foundation. Find a way to exchange it. Su Chen handed the brocade box to Yuan Suan and said, will it damage your foundation? Yuan Suan was stunned, and then said, although this falling god pearl will damage your foundation, it is also a great treasure. For warriors who step into the sea to concentrate their spirits, their aptitude has sometimes reached a bottleneck, and this falling god pearl will be of great use to them. Maybe the master will get a precious medicine that can restore his foundation in the later stage, and this thing will be of great use. Hearing Yuan Suan's words, Su Chen felt that his thinking was a bit narrow for a while. If there is a treasure that can restore the foundation, the two kinds of divine power are cultivated, the power must be even greater. Put the falling god pearl into the brocade box and throw it into the storage ring. Master, just now there was a message from Hall Masterling that Li Zenbi summoned 36 alien races to discuss how to deal with the Qinglang society in the ancestral land of Xianxin City in 3 days. Hall Masterling wants to catch them all in one fell swoop, so he asked to send a master to assist him. Yuan Suan said, the manpower has been prepared for him. This time I will give him a big bomb. Su Chen said softly, all 3 people drawn today will be sent out, plus Chu Jiangnan, Yuan Shizangsen, and the 6 hall masters of the Qinglang Club. The terrifying strength they show will definitely shock the world. Xiao Siwu has completed the task of assassinating one Xiangsu, but he is being hunted by the Wan family. But Xiao Siwu wrote back to the Qinglang Club and asked them not to send anyone to support him. He wants to use this incident to hone his strength and make his own strength go further. The 5th and 6th dragon heads came out of the 9 northern counties, and the 2 went to the Jiangbeihuo family. Yuan Suan said, the Jiangbeihuo family should have some foundation. The strength of the 2 dragon heads has increased, so it's not bad to use them as a starter. Su Chen said. In his heart, he thought, it seems that I must condense the base point of the Xianlang pulse cutting technique into a dragon shadow as soon as possible. Once the dragon shadow is cultivated and a force is destroyed, the dragon shadow can automatically absorb the fortune without going to the place where it is. It's a bit wasteful. No, I want to go with the 36 alien tribes. The Li family is backed by the royal family, and the 36 alien tribes have such a profound heritage, and their fortune is very strong. If I absorb it, I'm afraid I can condense a little phantom. Su Chen's eyes lit up. He decided to follow him. We will pack up tomorrow and go to Xianxin City secretly. Su Chen instructed Yuan Suan. Do we need to notify Miss Zhuang and Miss Mei? Yuan Suan said. I have something important to do this time, so let them return to Jinling City first. Su Chen said. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.